last week said the deputy had confronted Jones and two other people who were believed to have stolen items on them. The sheriff's office is only releasing again several seconds of Deputy Blackman's body-worn camera because state statute prevents the depiction of the death of a minor. Now, we do know that Jones' mother has viewed this video. In fact, she was at the sheriff's office today watching the moments her son's life ended. We're hoping to get in touch with her, but for now, all we have are those several seconds of video and new information on this deputy, Terrence Blackman, who's been with the sheriff's office since 2022 and is now on administrative leave. Guys.
That video is being dissected, every single moment of it, to get the full and complete picture of what actually happened. Mike Valenti reporting live. Thank you for that, Mike.
Yeah, interesting because you could see how many people were in the background,
store,
right just within a few feet of that shooting.
Yeah. All right, so moving on now. The wildfire risk here in Central Florida remains high, and there is very little rain relief in the forecast.
Yeah, your Volusia County community correspondent Molly Reed is checking out. Volusia County is definitely the most active in Central Florida when it comes to wildfires right now. So, Molly, tell us how it's looking out there.
Well, we're here in Daytona Beach, just off PGA Boulevard. This is where the Bennett Field fire started yesterday and totally took off. 80 residents here in the Mosaic neighborhood had to be evacuated last night because it got so close to their houses. Now, last night, if you were standing where I am right now, you would see black skies and smoke. You probably wouldn't even be able to see me. So we are seeing blue skies tonight behind us, and that means the firefighters are making a major dent in this fire. They told us today that it is at 160 acres and 75% contained. You can see the Mosaic neighborhood, though, it's still closed off to only residents, but we were able to go back there to see some of their efforts with police officers today. We'll show you some of that video. You can see just how close this fire was getting to people's houses in this neighborhood. We talked to one resident as he was getting back today from evacuating, and he told us that he saw the flames closing in on his house before he got those evacuation orders. So he had to run, grab everything he could, and book it out of his house. Now, again, firefighters, they are making a good dent in this fire here. They tell us that right now, one of their biggest challenges is working actually with the swamp around this area, trying to get their equipment through to get all of this fire knocked out. But they said today's weather is on their side, so it's looking like it's going to be a lot better. Again, with all of this going on in Volusia County and a lot of other areas in Central Florida, these firefighters are saying right now is not the time to be throwing your cigarettes out the window. Watch your chains dragging on the ground. Anything with the conditions and the dry conditions, you know, with our plants and everything from the freeze, anything can lead to as big of a fire as we saw here. Of course, firefighters say they don't know what caused this one here in Daytona Beach, but that is something they're still investigating. Guys.
Okay, Molly. Yeah, a lot to look at right now. We appreciate it. We wanted to bring in meteorologist Jonathan Kegas with all this talk of wildfires and dryness.
Yeah, and it seems like it is the perfect storm for these fires to, you know, you're talking about dry conditions, and it's been windy lately, but it seems like the winds have died down a little bit.
It has, and that's what Molly just mentioned about the firefighters saying the weather is on their side. It's still obviously really dry. The air is really dry. We talked about the chapstick weather last night on News 6 Tonight. So the air is still very dry. Relative humidities are in the teens and 20s, and again, that helps fires get going. But this is the thing that is helping firefighters out. Look at the wind speeds, much, much lower than yesterday. Yesterday we had gusts 20 to 30 miles an hour. Now they're in that 10 mile per hour ballpark, and they will continue to subside and relax even further than this going into the evening. So those are the things working for it. Again, overall, and this is kind of the thing with these fire weather conditions, you have the overall picture, which of course we know it's dry. You mentioned the freeze before, but then it's the day by day kind of taking things, okay, how dry is it, how dry is the air, and then what is the wind doing, and that's what we had yesterday, the kind of the trifecta of everything coming together.
Yeah, we just need a good soaking torrential rain to calm things down for us a little bit.
Maybe a little shot of that this weekend.
I'll take a little compared to none.
Yeah, a little something.
All right, thanks, Jonathan.
You got it, guys.
And staying with that fire theme right now, crews are also working as fast as they can in West Orange County to put out the embers on a building fire before it can spread to other buildings.
Your Orange County community correspondent Jana Manohalal is out there at the scene of the fire. So, Jana, have they gotten a handle on this thing?
it looks like they've got a little bit more of a handle on it compared to what it started at about 12:30 today. I'm going to move out of the way so you guys can see what we're looking at right now. We've got a few less crews than we had earlier. It looks like Winter Garden Fire Department is taking the lead on this, and they're using fire hoses. They just got down from the ladder that you're seeing that was up there right now. They literally just got down from there. They were using straight water to try and eliminate any possible sparkage over there. As of right now, we do not know what caused this fire or how big it was at the moment. The reason that we found this, I'll let you guys know, is we were on our way to a different story on the 408 heading towards Claremont when I looked out of my passenger window and saw huge plumes of black smoke. So doing what we do best at News 6, we went to see what was happening. We drove over here and we found this building fire. We've reached out to the surrounding companies to maybe see if they know anything or have some extra video that we can look at. But right now, this is what we're seeing. It looks like they're using heavy machinery equipment to move out some of the material that may still be on fire to just try and dampen that. Now, again, I'm going to reach out to Winter Garden Fire again to get some more information, but once we do, we'll bring it to you here and on clickorlando.com. For now, Winter Garden, I'm your Orange County community correspondent, Jana Manahal, News 6.
Yeah, it's just a reminder to keep an eye out for any flames or smoke you see in the area. Thank you, Jana.
Well, all eyes will be on the nation's capital tonight. Big State of the Union address taking place. Let's take you live to D.C., where President Trump has already warned that address tonight is going to be long. The White House press secretary has already said the president's speech will focus mostly on the economy. So let's take a look at the big board live for you. The Dow looking good today on the heels of this speech. The president's speech is coming as the Dow Jones is up about 1% today. Now, I spoke with a political scientist at UCF today who says to expect a lot of positivity tonight, at least from the president's perspective.
So I think it's probably going to be heavy on the patriotism and heavy on the American Revolution, heavy on his successes. You're going to have, I guess, the U.S. men's hockey team there, so it might be a bit boisterous. And overall, fairly Trumpy speech.
Now, of course, there are some other very big topics the president has taken heat for recently, like last week's Supreme Court tariff decision and escalating tensions with Iran. So we'll see not only how his speech goes and how he directs that, but also how the crowd, which also is going to include the Supreme Court. So it'll be interesting to see that.
It will be very interesting. And that was your warning that it is going to be a lengthy one. So have your cup of coffee and get ready to watch. Well, new pleas today from the Guthrie family as the search for Nancy Guthrie now enters 1 month. It has been a long time, everybody.
We need her to come home. For that reason, we are offering a family reward of up to $1 million for any information that leads us to her recovery. We also know that she may be lost. She may already be gone.
That was Today's Show co-host Savannah Guthrie. She said she realizes that their mom may no longer be alive, but they still need to know what happened to her. 4 weeks into the search now, new details are also coming out about the suspect in the chilling doorbell camera video outside the 84-year-old's front door. Law enforcement sources confirmed to CBS News this masked man appears to have been at Nancy Guthrie's home earlier than February 1st. That's the night police believe Guthrie was kidnapped. And when you just see Savannah Guthrie make that plea, your heart just bleeds for her.
You have to feel
because
terrible.
it has been, you just want to know at this point. You just want answers. It's hard when you lose a loved one and you know what happened to them. I can't even fathom what she is going through.
All of the
right
mystery
now.
surrounding this case, and now finding out that this guy was cruising her house.
May have been
this was
casing it,
some
yeah.
sort of a plan in place days before.
Just awful.
Yeah.
Just awful. Well, Central Florida's newest theme park is facing yet another lawsuit. Two brothers filed a lawsuit last week against Universal Studios. The brothers say they were riding the Harry Potter and the Battle of the Ministry of Magic ride on Christmas Day when it stopped suddenly because of a malfunction. The lawsuit says that they were thrown around in their seats, causing, quote, significant back and neck injuries. They are seeking at least $50,000 in damages. Now, we've reached out to Universal at this point. We haven't heard back, though. The Florida Department of Agriculture and Consumer Services keeps a record of injuries reported on theme parks or at theme park rides. This incident was not in their report from the end of last year. And you see video, that's actually
you,
me.
wasn't it?
Yeah, because I went for opening day and we did that particular queue for the ride. We didn't actually get on the actual ride, but it's a very popular one. And this is the first time I'm hearing that someone has been injured on that particular ride. So we'll keep a close eye on that.
We'll just have to wait and see. Well, driverless cars, they are no longer a part of fiction writing now.
No, they're actually out on the roads in Central Florida right now, and we're taking a look at how safe they are. Well, the future is now, and it's on the roads here in Central Florida.
Yeah, self-driving cars are officially on the streets in Orlando. It's happening. One of the first people to take them, our very own Trooper Steve.
Yeah, so Trooper Steve joins us now live. About his Waymo experience. He's not live. He'll be live in just a second. And what it was like in the back seat.
What if I told you your next ride won't have a human driver at all? I'm talking no hands on the steering wheel, no hands on any of the control. Most of you think it was science fiction. It's happening right here in Central Florida. This feels like someone's in the seat. I'm not gonna lie right now. There's zero hesitation. Today, we're getting an exclusive first look at something that will completely change how we all move around Orlando. Waymo, the self-driving car company backed by Google, is officially coming to our area. These vehicles are already operating in cities like Phoenix, San Francisco, and Los Angeles. And here's the wild part. There is no human driver. The car does everything on its own.
We want to show passengers what the Waymo driver sees, using 29 cameras, 6 radar, 5 LiDAR, and 4 audio sensors to hear and look out for sirens.
Like right now, we have a green light. Most drivers would be a little reckless, and they would go, but it noticed that there's a pedestrian there.
In the crosswalk, yeah.
And by law, you've got to wait.
We have to
and
yield.
It yielded.
By law, and also it's the right thing to do.
And it's the right thing to do. As a former full-time state trooper who spent years working crashes and enforcing our traffic laws on these roads, I can tell you guys, introducing fully autonomous vehicles into one of the busiest tourist regions in the country is a major milestone.
We want to go the extra distance to make this the most safest driving experience you have, and that's why we built the Waymo driver to be the world's most trusted driver, and that comes with experience and that comes with the safety metrics to back that up.
Waymo says this service is going to be open to the public, meaning you and I are going to be able to request a ride just like rideshare, except this time our driver's technology. Over the next few days, I'm going to be showing you exactly how it works, what safety measures are built in, and what this means for drivers, pedestrians, and visitors across Central Florida. The future of transportation isn't just coming, it's here. I'm Trooper Steve, News 6.
All right, and speaking of being here, now Trooper Steve joins us live. Steve, thank you for being in the driver's seat of Results One and not in the back seat. We want to talk to you about your Waymo experience. What was that like?
You know, it's surreal to really understand that technology is here, it's now. We don't have to talk about the future anymore. I'm going to tell you, it's not something that we should be overly scared or nervous about. I'll wait for the next question before I just keep on talking, but it was an experience.
Steve, I'm curious. I've heard it looked like a nice little car. I've heard they use Jaguars and all sorts of nice vehicles. What was it like, the experience inside?
Well, it was just like being inside of a normal car, except that car spoke to you. So there was a lot of audio instructions and just letting you know what the car was doing. And Ginger, Matt, the weirdest thing, it had, I would say, human tendencies. What? So to yield to someone in the crosswalk or to stop at the stop bar, Ginger, this one will get you, to stop at the stop bar and then slowly inch forward to see if anything was coming. Like that's something we do.
Yeah, well, we should be doing it. Sadly, some people don't, though. But Steve, all right, let's just be honest here. We're all control freaks, and I'll just speak for myself.
You especially.
Like being in the back, and like, you know, we're used to driving and taking control and taking command. But being in the back, were you pushing the brake at some, you know what I mean? Like you're a passenger, sometimes you just like...
Air brake.
Did that happen at all?
You know, having that exposure, yes, I was initially a little apprehensive, hands down on the leather in the car and just a little tense. But once you realize that this thing has more eyes than a spider on it, it's always looking, it's anticipating, it is nerve-wracking, but at the end of the day, it is, if we're comparing it to what we're dealing with now in Central Florida, I think it's a better driver.
It wasn't
attention.
It wasn't texting
It wasn't
while it was driving you around.
yes.
Great stuff. All right, Trooper Steve, thank you very much.
Love
We
the
appreciate it.
point of view.
Glad
Thank
it was
you.
safe. So driverless cars are the topic of our poll of the day. If you see on the bottom left of your screen there, you can scan that QR code and let us know. That's the big question. Would you trust one of these things to drive you around? 65% of the people saying no right now. Only 35% say yes. But I wonder if you see someone or know someone who has a good experience like Steve did, then maybe you'll start to trust it a little.
All those people took that poll while they were driving on I-4.
Right, yeah.
It's like,
looking
no,
at
I
their
will
phones.
not trust it.
That's
Yeah,
right.
exactly. All right, still to come. There's a popular burger chain opening its first location right here in Central Florida.
And a lot of you are talking about it. We'll bring you those comments coming up.
All right, well, few things get people more excited than a new business. And if that new business happens to be a burger joint, well, hold on to your buns.
Oh, bring it on. Nice job there. I like that. Our social media guru, DJ, is showing you a new restaurant that's coming to town that has a lot of you talking.
All right, this is a big one for all the food lovers out there across Florida, especially if you love burgers. Just a few weeks ago, we were talking about Whataburger making a return. Now it's the West Coast legend Jack in the Box. The California-based chain just opened its first Florida location in decades. And a lot of people asking on Facebook, where is it? It's on West State Road in Longwood. But there are more locations coming. So if you want to learn more, you can go to the QR code right there. They'll take you to our story about it. But I want to dive into these comments because people had all kinds of opinions on this. Like Maritza, who says, my daughter and hubby stood in line for 2 hours, but they said it was worth it. Malcolm says, can't touch that place for a while after it opens. Paula says, 7-hour wait time's not worth the hype. Michelle says, we went at 11 today and got right in. While we were eating, the long line outside started. Get there early. Joel says, unless they've improved in 40 years, no thanks. Jamie says, can't wait to try it, but I'm waiting for the hype to die down. And saved my favorite comment for last, from my guy Rodney. He says, go get 'em, guys. This is Hot Rod. It's rare to find words of encouragement like that in the Facebook comments. But what do you think? Jack in the Box is back. Whataburger's making a comeback. What are we still missing here in Central Florida?
People would tell you In-N-Out. You know, I don't really get the hype on the In-N-Out burger, but our photographers...
In-N-Out is like the Five Guys of burgers for me, because I don't
totally
understand
agree
it.
with you.
I don't...
But people
if you
are obsessed with
I tell you what I'm not waiting in line for 2 hours or more. Anything.
Yeah, I know there are rides at Disney I won't wait for 2 hours for. All right, still to come, a wild story out of South Florida that involves an Orlando woman who goes down there to meet with a date. And they say she got trapped down there. We'll talk about it coming up. Welcome back to News 6 at 3 o'clock. Now we're going to go to a local story that has gained international attention. It's a Brevard County teen who died on a cruise ship.
Yeah, and it seems like just any little new detail we get on this story seems to really get people talking. And from the very beginning, our News 6 investigator, Mike DeForest, has been digging into this story. And Mike, what can you tell us about today?
Well, we're talking about 18-year-old Anna Kepner, who was found dead on a cruise ship nearly 4 months ago. We're not really hearing anything from the FBI or federal prosecutors. It seems like everything is coming from her family. And I think the big information that we've heard in the last couple months is that, according to the family, she was asphyxiated and that her younger stepbrother was a suspect in her, what they call a murder, and that he has actually been to juvenile court as a result of this. Now, those juvenile court records, if that's true, are sealed. So we don't know any specific details officially. We're getting it all from the family. And what's now starting to happen, Ginger, is that there are fissures in this family, and some of these new details are coming out in court records. Let me explain. Anna Kepner is part of what you would call a blended family. Sure. She lives with her biological father and her stepmother, along with her stepbrothers and sisters and her blood brothers and sisters. This is when she was alive, before this cruise ship death in November. Well, what's now happening is that you've got this blended family, and you've got now child custody battles taking place on both sides of this family, in essence trying to pull this family apart, and all citing whatever happened on this cruise ship as a reason to kind of pull some of the younger siblings out of this household. And it is through these court filings in these child custody battles that we're kind of learning some of these new nuggets, including one of the most recent, which is this 16-year-old stepbrother, the suspect, as the family calls him, is apparently been charged in juvenile court with her murder. Again, we don't have that officially confirmed, but that's through the family.
So that's one of the things that surprised people about this, that it appeared that there hadn't been an arrest, but that may not be the case.
And I want to be careful here, because when you're dealing with juvenile court, I'll tell you, it's very rare for the federal court system, which this appears to be the jurisdiction handling this, to handle juvenile cases. Usually they're sent to the state court system. It's very rare that the feds actually handle this. And then sometimes when it's a federal case, it'll go to adult court. They'll be charged as an adult. And in that case, then we see the court records, and I think us as the public would have more insight as to what was happening. But this is one of the very rare juvenile cases, it appears, in federal court. And that has just kind of put a kibosh on any official information coming out. And they do that, as you may imagine, to protect juveniles. They're still young. Right. It's not considered punishment. Whatever ultimately happens with him, it's going to be rehabilitation, try to give him another chance as an adult. Again, this is in general speaking about juvenile courts. We don't know what's happening with a specific child.
Yeah, but we know that you're covering it and you're staying on top of it, and you'll have more for us in later newscasts.
At clickorlando.com right now, we have the latest developments with, again, just it's been interesting to watch and very sad to watch that you have this death of this teenager, and now her blended family is really starting to come apart at the seams because of what other family members are trying to drive with this, with concerns about what's going on.
Yeah,
Terrible
and so
situation.
many blended families out there, you can understand the family dynamic, but with this murder, it makes it just so interesting to watch from afar, and so sad.
And the community's invested in this.
Yeah,
all right. Their hearts are broken.
All right, DeForest, we'll see you later. Thank you. Well, a former Daytona Beach police officer arrested on drug charges, we're told, will remain in jail.
Yeah, she was set to appear in court this morning to discuss possible bond, but it turns out that might not be happening. She actually may be going to court when she's in jail. Mark Lehman has the story.
Coming into today's hearing, Amber Williamson was looking at separate schedules for the cases she's facing here at the courthouse. The court now tells me that they're all moving forward with the same timeline as her defense is preparing for trial. 40-year-old Amber Williamson was noticeably absent from the courtroom as there was a brief discussion on the next steps for her most recent drug trafficking case. The former Daytona Beach police officer was first arrested last month after Port Orange police identified her as a fentanyl dealer during an investigation.
This isn't like she was shoplifting. I mean, this is a deadly, deadly game that's being played with this fentanyl.
Volusia County Sheriff Mike Chitwood hired Williamson in 2009 when he was Daytona Beach's police chief, and she remained with the department for 10 years. Chitwood telling us in a previous interview he was especially disappointed to learn after her initial arrest, a judge released Williamson on her own recognizance.
He whiffed on this one. I mean, judges are like umpires, and when they make mistakes, in my opinion, They should be called out.
Williamson was rearrested days later on more warrants connected to drug trafficking. She was later ordered to be held without bond while awaiting trial.
That to walk out the front door, ROR, like, oh, nothing's ever going to happen again, that you're basically urinating in the face of all the hardworking cops that are trying to stop this and telling them it's raining outside.
Last week, an order was also filed substituting a new attorney for Williamson. Both he and his client are expected back in court next month as pretrial in her cases has been set for March 19th. In Daytona Beach, Mark Lehman, News 6. Well, police say a Miami man assaulted and imprisoned a woman who went down to see him from the Orlando area.
Yeah, Peter Dench from our affiliate in Miami says the two met on a dating app.
As to the first count for the strong arm robbery, I'm setting the standard bond at $7,500.
34-year-old Sadi Michal Castellanos-Traminio is facing charges including strong-arm robbery, child neglect, and battery by strangulation. Miami police say the victim from Orlando was falsely imprisoned and assaulted Friday night inside this apartment here on Northeast Bayshore Court. An arrest report says they initially met through a social media dating app. It says the suspect bought a Brightline train ticket for her and her 3-year-old daughter so they could come to Miami to celebrate his birthday. The report says she thought they were going to go out to dinner, but instead he bought pizza and took them back to his apartment, which she thought was dirty. The report said he tried to kiss her and she wanted to leave. The report said at that point the defendant became irate and told her not to leave, stating that it was too dangerous. He then bear hugged her and prevented her from exiting the room. The report says Castellanos-Traminio grabbed her phone after she texted a friend and she screamed. The report says the defendant then covered her mouth and nose with his hand to prevent her from yelling. The report also said she was able to break free, go to another room, and text her friend again, who contacted police.
The concern is that we have some folks in our community, in our society at large, that place way too much reliance on all these social media platforms and dating applications, and that's a risk. You really don't know somebody until you meet them, right? Not on an app, but in person. So you should be guarded until the time that they're able to earn your trust.
You know, you're really putting a lot of faith in somebody that you don't know if you're willing to travel on train all the way down there 3 hours with your 3-year-old.
That is a stunning, stunning story and a cautionary tale for a lot of other people who are on these apps, and a lot of people are on the apps.
This is true. Well, a cleaning lady is facing some felony charges. She's accused of cleaning out her client in a way that she's not really supposed to. Take a look. Polk County Sheriff's Office says they arrested Ashley Hernandez last week. The woman called the sheriff's office the week before saying she believed Hernandez stole more than 11 grand worth of jewelry during a scheduled cleaning. The woman said she was missing 5 pieces of jewelry. Detectives found some of them at a pawn shop. Some had already been sold or melted. Hernandez was charged with dealing in stolen property, providing false information to a pawnbroker, and theft. Detectives learned during their investigation others complained about Hernandez on social media, claiming she also took stuff from their houses. Other investigations are being handled now through Hillsborough County. Talking about trusting someone, you let that person into your house around all of your belongings, and $11,000.
She was asked to clean, not clean out.
That's right. Well, it was a hero's welcome in South Florida last night. The gold medal winners came back. Let's show you what they were looking like. USA! USA! The U.S. men's hockey team wearing the gold medal, greeted by fans just hours after winning that gold over Canada in the 2026 Winter Olympics. The team was greeted by some very grateful fans out there who've been waiting about 5 decades for another gold medal.
46 years I've been waiting. I've been waiting for 2 things. For the Olympic team to win the hockey and for the Jets to win the Super Bowl. So 1 out of 2 isn't bad.
We're back to 1980, and I'm so glad that our generation is getting to experience it.
He's going to be waiting a while on those Jets, too. Maybe another 50 years.
He believes in miracles.
Good luck. Got to have faith, brother. The players are right back on the move. The men's hockey team expected to be at the State of the Union tonight. The women's team, who also won gold over Canada, declined their invitation. The team cited logistics. They arrived back in the U.S. late last night, but the president faced some backlash after a video of his call to the men's team surfaced, where he said he'd have to invite the women's team after the men won. So we will be seeing them tonight during the State of the Union.
For sure. Okay, we know this. Every part of the country has some lingo, and it can be hard to keep up with if you're not familiar with, that part of the world. Sometimes they're called colloquialisms or whatever. So a new study released the most mispronounced words in the country. It looked at Google search data using terms
I'm glad I didn't
like,
get this story.
Like how do you pronounce and how to pronounce. I use that all the time. In Florida, the most mispronounced word was staphylococcal.
Well done.
It's a type of bacteria that causes things like skin infections, pneumonia, and even food poisoning.
Staph infection, right?
Yeah, exactly. So that's why we say staph infection instead of the whole thing. Nationwide, the most mispronounced word, okay, I'm going to spell it because we still have a big debate about this one.
I don't even know.
Gyro. Do you say hero or gyro?
Gyro. Give me that gyro.
Gyro.
What do you say?
Gyro.
Gyro?
Yeah.
Gyro.
That's from Steve.
I don't know. In case you're wondering what Steve thinks about this.
I'm just saying.
I don't know.
Always, people say it differently.
I would take either of those over Lake Tohopekalaga. Lake Toho.
No,
down.
Toho, yes.
Mhm.
Don't ever put that in a script
I
fully
know,
spelled
it's
out.
getting shortened immediately.
Still to come, we're checking in with Jonathan on wildfire risk in Central Florida.
And the safety changes one Central Florida lawmaker is looking forward to when it comes to e-bikes. We'll talk about that coming up.
This portion of the news is sponsored by Bill Ray Nissan Longwood. We do it the right way.
Welcome back to News 6 at 3 o'clock. Man, it couldn't look any better out at our port cam there, and beautiful Port Canaveral. But as we come out live to meteorologist Jonathan Kagas, he has some cold facts for us.
I do. It's been a pretty crazy winter look for Florida Sanders. We don't have to shovel any of it. Okay, the Northeast is dealing with that blizzard. We've been talking about that.
For us, it's been cold.
It's been crazy. I mean, we've had the hard freeze. Of course, the farmers are dealing with that. We've lost a lot of crops. Certainly, I'm sure your plants are suffering out there as well. These were the low temperatures again this morning. Another morning in the 30s for Orlando. 27 was our temperature in Ocala. Another hard freeze for us. 29 in the Villages. We were at 36 degrees in Kissimmee this morning. So, if you need a conversation starter, like a pickup line or anything like that, this is it.
I don't need those anymore.
Neither
do you, but
you do not. But
just in case.
In case, just kind of if you're going out, maybe just hanging out, like, hey, did you know this year we've had 15 days at the Orlando International Airport that were in the 30s.
Was this the type of move you used on your wife to get her?
No, I did not.
Let me tell you how many days it's been.
Let me tell you this. No, I don't think we would have sealed the deal if I came to her with a weather stat like this. But anyway, so we've had 15 mornings in the 30s at MCO, the official observing station there in Orlando. Last year, we only had 4.
Wow.
So just to put that into perspective,
huge difference, yeah.
Huge. The last time we had this many days in the 30s in Orlando was 2011. So that brings me to this. It should say February, not April. But all the blue there represents below normal temperatures. Those 2 red boxes are where we broke records. So that was the first and second. That was the crazy, ridiculous stuff that we had pipes freezing everywhere.
Sure.
So it's been kind of a tale of 2 halves there. The gray represents where we've been normal, and then we've had that above normal stretch until yesterday and today. Of course, the climate report officially comes in at 5 o'clock in the evening. So we don't have the official numbers yet, but we are going to see the blue box. Obviously, we woke up into the 30s again this morning in Orlando. Now, right now, we are on the rebound, but temperatures still way below where they should be. Average, Matt, it's in the mid to upper 70s. We're hanging out in the upper 50s. There will be a quick warming trend. Tomorrow's going to be chilly. I think maybe tomorrow is Wednesday, Thursday morning might be a little chilly. And then from there, we have the blowtorch coming back. So we're going to get into that.
Blowtorch.
We're going to talk about that coming up at 4
All right.
o'clock.
Good to know. Jonathan Kagas, thank you so much. All right, let's talk about new safety standards with e-bikes. We seem to have a new e-bike story on the news every single day. Unfortunately, many of them are sad. Well, different municipalities are trying to figure it out. There's also a bill making its way through the legislature that could change the rules. Tiffany Salome with our sister station in Jacksonville has more on that.
Injuries involving e-bikes are on the rise in Jacksonville.
I've seen a big uptick in people calling our firm wanting to hire us because they've been injured on these e-bikes. I mean, daily almost coming in.
Attorney Chuck Farah's experience is right in line with what doctors are seeing at Wolfson Children's Hospital. There were 19 cases in January alone involving children injured while riding e-bikes. That's compared to 115 e-bike injuries in 2025, a 55% increase from the year before.
We have seen folks who are using e-bikes irresponsibly and children that are using e-bikes without any type of guardrails or oversight. It's been a major issue.
Anna Escamani is one lawmaker co-sponsoring legislation to help regulate e-bikes.
Because of all these safety concerns, especially among children, our hope with this bill is that there can be a clear guidance provided when it comes to those under the age of 18 who don't have any formal training and are using these e-bikes sometimes in dangerous ways.
Under House Bill 243, e-bike riders would be required to obey a 10-mile-per-hour speed limit on sidewalks within 50 feet of a pedestrian. The bill would also establish a 3-tier classification system for electric bikes. The lower-tier bikes would include models where pedal assistance stops at 20 miles per hour. Class 3 bikes, those capable of exceeding 28 miles per hour, would face new licensing requirements. The measure would also define an electric motorcycle as any bike capable of speeds greater than 28 miles per hour.
Much like you would have a learning permit for a car, the discussion is around a learning permit for e-bikes, because right now, for children, there is just no real restrictions and oversight on it. I mean, even if there are rules, it's very difficult to implement and enforce them.
Currently, the way the law is there is no law. They're treated just like bicycles. So, just like you can ride a bicycle pretty much anywhere, no real regulation.
So even if the bill passes, Escamani says there's still going to be a lot to figure out in the future with these e-bike rules. But if it does and then it's signed into law, that would go into effect July 1st. We'll let you know what happens.
So much going on with those e-bikes. They're everywhere.
Kids love them, that's for
Yeah,
sure.
for sure.
We have another safety alert for kids, but this one is entirely up to kids to prevent.
Yeah, we're talking about a TikTok trend we've been talking about, kids kicking indoors or kicking doors.
Yeah, law enforcement's been warning about this for months now. Your community correspondent, Tylisa Hampton, joins us to talk about an issue with this in Winter Garden. Tylisa?
Well, Matt, Ginger, Lisa, can you imagine you're sitting at home, minding your business, and then all of a sudden you hear a big old kick on your door. Your door doesn't go in, but you're hearing it not just one day, but multiple days, almost for a full-on month. That's what a homeowner tells me that she's been experiencing here in this Winter Garden neighborhood. She tells me that she actually thought that she was the only one that this was happening to until she put it on social media. From there, she says she got multiple messages of people experiencing similar or the exact same thing. So we came out to this neighborhood. We have been shown multiple videos, sometimes of one kid, sometimes of almost of three kids, either covering their face, covering up cameras, but you can definitely hear them kicking those doors. Now, that woman that I spoke about earlier, she said it's happened so much they actually have left footprints on her front door. That's how often it's happened. She says that she has two kids and even her mother, who's in her 70s, that live in that same home as she does. She says it's terrifying because you're just minding your business, you're sleeping with your family, and then all of a sudden kids just kick your door. They think it's funny, but she says it's actually not. It can be dangerous, which we have reported on before. So I reached out to the Orange County Sheriff's Office about this issue that not just this homeowner was experiencing, but other homeowners was experiencing. So the Sheriff's Office basically told me that these pranks, they are not funny. They can actually land teens in real trouble, and they advise them, of course, do not do this. But that homeowner, she says, hopefully the parents get involved. She says a lot of this, at least in her mind, 50% is on the parents to get involved, ask your kids, what are you doing, and make sure that they're not doing anything like this. Reporting in Winter Garden, I'm Tylisa Hampton, back to you.
What a dangerous trend, and we're just thankful that it hasn't turned dead. Tylisa, thank you. We'll see you on a later newscast, but we keep waiting. It's going to turn deadly at some point. It's going to be very ugly.
You can imagine being a homeowner terrifying when you hear a noise like that at your front door in the
middle
middle of the night.
Awful.
All right, coming up after the break, a major company is looking to get a refund from President Trump's tariffs.
Yeah, plus the new addictive concerns about one of the largest social media companies out there.
Hey there, I'm News 6 anchor Lauren Melendez. We've got new details in Meta's class action lawsuit, and FedEx is now asking the government for a refund. So let's get over to Maribel Aber in today's Money Matters. So this has all got to do with that recent ruling about tariffs, Maribel.
Yes, Lauren. So global shipper FedEx suing the U.S. government for a tariff refund, and it comes on the heels of Friday's Supreme Court ruling that found the Trump administration exceeded its authority to impose such levies. The lawsuit also names U.S. Customs and Border Protection, which collects tariffs. Now, no dollar amount was listed in the filing, but FedEx reported a possible $1 billion tariff dent in earnings last fall. Other companies had filed similar lawsuits before the High Court's ruling last week, like Costco, Revlon, and Ray-Ban. Those cases are pending at the U.S. Court of International Trade in New York, where FedEx also filed. Several media outlets have requested a comment from the White House and Customs Agency.
Yeah, you hit the nail on the head. I was just going to say, I've seen a flurry of lawsuits, and I imagine there are going to be so many more to come after that ruling. So I know we're going to be talking about this again. But then there's some new details about that class action lawsuit, which involved Meta.
This is what we know now, Lauren. Meta researchers apparently once proposed an internal study to determine if its platform, Facebook, caused addictive behavior in users. That's the claim in a new class action lawsuit filed against the tech company. Plaintiffs included hundreds of school districts nationwide, along with multiple state attorneys general. Now, Meta is currently on trial in LA over similar addiction accusations. And on the stand, CEO Mark Zuckerberg conceded that use of Meta's platforms could become problematic, but shouldn't be considered addictive. Meta never carried that internal audit out. Lauren, listen, if once you introduce something into your routine, it's really tough to change. I would have loved to have been introduced to save $1 a day starting at 13. $5,000 at 21, that would be a nice graduation gift to yourself. So parents, teach it.
Yeah, no, you're right. And we're creatures of habit. I open my phone as soon as I wake up, and I have to stop myself from checking social media. So understandable. All right, Maribel, thank you. Remember, you can get the latest money and consumer news anytime. Just head to our website, clickorlando.com.
It can be a time suck, and you wonder where your morning went, and it went on your phone because it happened so quickly. All right, stay with us. News 6 at 4 is coming up. We have a lot we're working on.
Yeah, including some body cam video and some 911 calls that we want to share with you after two teens apparently were riding an e-bike, hit a 5-year-old boy, and took off. News 6's Alex Cook is looking into that for us. News 6 at 4 starts right now.
Streaming on clickorlando.com and broadcasting live. You're watching News 6 at 4.
We're getting a first look at how close firefighters had to cut lines in a Daytona Beach wildfire to save homes. I'm Molly Reed. Coming up, we're going to be talking to homeowners about their escape.
And we are watching it for the potential for a frost tonight. Again, a little bit warmer than last night, but still on the colder side of things. We're going to break down how cold it gets this evening in a few minutes.
And President Trump set to deliver his State of the Union in just a few hours. I'm News 6 anchor Matt Austin, live in the newsroom with what you can expect tonight.
But first at 4, we are following breaking news. We are seeing the moments leading up to a deputy shooting and killing a 16-year-old accused of shoplifting at a Walmart. This happened last week at the Walmart Superstore in Point Siena.
And that's where News 6's Mike Valenti is right now. And Mike, you just got your hands on this new body cam video. It's very short, but tell us what you're seeing.
Yeah, it's very short. This is all that was released to us by the Osceola County Sheriff's Office. The video does not show the initial confrontation, just several seconds of a chase, and the video cuts off before shots are fired.
Drop it! Drop it!
You can hear there, it appears it's the Osceola County Sheriff's deputy who is yelling, drop it, in reference to the gun they say 16-year-old Jairus Jones was holding. The sheriff's office paused the video and drew a circle around Jones's hand to highlight the gun. State statute precludes any depiction of the death of a minor, so the body cam footage released to us ends after you hear those words, drop it, drop it. It's just important to, again, reiterate, News 6 did not edit that video in any way. That was all that was released to us, just about 6 seconds. We're learning tonight that the deputy involved here is Terrence Blackman, no relation to Osceola County Sheriff Christopher Blackman. The deputy has been with the agency since the beginning of 2022 and was assigned at the time to do security for Walmart. The sheriff's office says Blackman and a loss prevention officer went up to Jones last Thursday night and two other people who they suspected of stealing items That's when the office says Jones ran, holding a gun in a part of the store where there were a lot of customers Thursday night. Deputy Blackman is on administrative leave with pay while the FDLE investigation plays out. That is standard for any officer-involved shooting. As for the other two people who the deputy confronted, the two people who were with Jones, one we're told was a friend of Jones, also a teenager, according to the sheriff's office. The other was Jones's adult brother. We're told that no charges, no arrests have been made in the case in respect to the two other people, but a sheriff's office spokesperson told me as recently as a couple hours ago that they are still under investigation by the sheriff's office. But that's all we have right now, just about 6 seconds of video. We're hoping to learn more in the coming days and weeks. Guys.
6 seconds, but very telling. Mike Valenta reporting live for us. Thank you, Mike. And it was just yesterday we were telling you about how deputies shot a masked man outside of Walmart in Orange County. It happened Sunday night near the store along East Colonial Drive. Investigators say a man was trying to leave the store with a cart full of items. When deputies gave him repeated commands, they say he did not listen. And they even used a taser, which they say did not work. That's when deputies shot him. They took him to the hospital. He is expected to be okay. Investigators say they found 2 knives on that man.
This just into our newsroom. The man accused of slashing a boy's throat in Daytona Beach is facing a new, more serious charge. The state attorney's office is charging Jermaine Long with attempted first-degree murder. This is in addition to his initial charge of aggravated battery. Long is accused of slashing a boy he did not know near the slingshot ride on the boardwalk last week. The boy needed 13 stitches in his neck. Long is also facing charges after police say just hours before the slashing, he chased a man with a sledgehammer. At the time, officers spoke with Long and the victim, but did not immediately make an arrest. He will be held in jail until his trial.
Also in Volusia County, firefighters are keeping a close eye on the active brush fire that's burning in Daytona Beach. It's roughly about 160 acres and about 75% contained right now.
The fire is just off LPGA Boulevard near the Mosaic neighborhood and tennis center. Neighbors were forced out last night. More than 80 homes had to be evacuated, and that area just reopened.
Your Volusia County community correspondent Molly Reed is in the Mosaic neighborhood where firefighters say the fight isn't over yet.
That's right. They say that they were able to just open up the neighborhood, and you can see some blue skies around me right now, which is a good sign that firefighters are making a pretty good dent in this fire. Still just at this point, though, it's 75% contained down to 160 acres. So there's still a good amount of work here to do. Now I'm standing in some tire tracks. You can see these are huge tire tracks, and they go down into a pretty big valley here of bigger lines and tracks where firefighters were making what they call cuts to stop the fire from getting to the homes behind us. Now, we talked to these residents today as they were getting back from evacuating, and they talked about those harrowing moments.
I said, this thing escalated like 10 times what it was, like in 15, 20 minutes.
Michael Reiper says his family had to think fast and book it out of their house Monday night. He says evacuation orders came right after they saw the flames starting to close in.
So I ended up gathering up what I could, got the dog, and we took off. And we tried to stay at a hotel nearby, but that was booked already. So we just went over at the beach, and it was pretty good, but this is one of the scariest things I've ever been through.
Our drone video shows you the lines firefighters made to stop the flames from reaching their home. Thankfully, the Reiperish family and the 79 others evacuated came back to their houses still standing, but you can see how close it got.
And you could still see the glow, so I was a little curious if it was safe or not.
Resident Connor Ray also sharing this video with us showing firefight teams picking up water and then dropping it in the woods right behind his house. Firefighters tell us the weather today is on their side, but the situation could change again quickly, so they're on high alert.
It would be pushing south if it pushed anywhere, but we have our equipment out ahead of it, and the forward progression for the most part is stopped.
Firefighters Monday and today dropped 72 200-gallon buckets fighting this Bennett Field fire. They say the surrounding swamp in the area has also made it difficult to get equipment in to stop the fire.
Right now, mainly pushing lines so that we can get our engines in there. We can work with Daytona Beach Fire Rescue, and they can get equipment and engines in there to run hoses and start mopping up the fire's edge.
Now you can see some equipment coming back here this way now from the Florida Forestry Service, using this to clear the area again near these homes where they stopped the fire earlier. We are still seeing again some smoke in this area, but not nearly as much as we saw even 12 hours ago. The firefighters again saying this fight is not just over. And they tell us they are still investigating to find out what caused this. I'm your Volusia County Community Correspondent Molly Reed, News 6.
Yeah, Molly, we'll figure out if it was human-made or if nature caused it. Thank you for that live report. You know, what would really help this situation is if we got some rain. So let's check in now with meteorologist Jonathan Kagas to see what's going on with this dry weather and if there is any relief on the horizon. Jonathan.
Gonna have to wait till the end of the work week and into the weekend for any kind of chance for rain. The one thing Molly mentioned about the weather being on their side, of course, it is still really dry out there. But this was the factor yesterday that the firefighters were working against the wind. We had gusts yesterday, 20 to 30 miles an hour. Today, backing off big time, and we should continue to watch this back off big time again tonight, even relaxing further. Now, the one issue that we still have is it is very dry. Of course, the ground is very dry, but the air is very dry. Relative humidity in the teens and 20s. Of course, it'd be a lot more dire if we had the 20 to 30 mile per hour wind gusts on top of this. But thankfully, one of the components that we look for to forecast fire conditions is not there, and that's, of course, the wind helping things out. A little chilly tonight. Frost advisory in play again where we don't have that colored in. That's where we still have a freeze warning for Marion County, but frost advisory for everybody else tomorrow morning. One more night. If your plants are alive, just cover them up or keep them in the house. We're going to talk about when a big warm-up and those rain chances arrive on your 7-day forecast coming up at about 4:17, guys.
All right, Jonathan, thank you. Kicked, pushed, and slapped. A Marion County daycare teacher is facing child abuse charges tonight. Ginger is over at the Monitor with a look at some of these shocking allegations. And Ginger, deputies say the kids were only about 1 year old.
Yeah, Lisa, that is so sad. The sheriff's office says this woman you see right here, her name is Laura Flores, was an employee at Bright Beginnings Learning Center in Summerfield. According to an arrest report, one of the kids came home with bruises and abrasions on his cheeks, and that sparked an investigation into what was going on. Deputies say when they looked back at surveillance footage, they saw Flores grabbing a child and throwing them onto a mat. They say they kept watching and later saw Flores hit a kid in the back of the head, kick another child, causing them to fall face first onto the floor, and then hit a child in the stomach. These are kids. And then slap a child. She was just finishing swaddling up, and she slapped that child in the face, according to this report. Flores is facing 3 counts of felony child abuse. Lisa?
Ginger, thank you. Taking a live look at the Capitol now. In just a few hours, the president will deliver his first State of the Union address of his second term. He will speak directly to Congress and the American people. The White House says the economy will be a major focus. News 6 anchor Matt Austin joins us now live in the newsroom with the key issues the president is expected to focus on tonight. Matt?
Well, tonight, President Donald Trump delivers that State of the Union address. His speech comes at a consequential moment in the presidency. The president will most likely cover many big topics like the economy, as Lisa mentioned, tensions with Iran, and a massive Supreme Court decision which overturned his broad use of tariffs. The Supreme Court, by the way, will be sitting right in front of him, the same people he recently claimed embarrassed their families with that decision. I spoke with UCF political scientist John Hanley today about the speech.
Donald Trump, in the response to last week's decision, unleashed a volley of criticism of the Supreme Court and its members, some of it very personal. It will be interesting to see if he engages in more of that this evening, and if there's a visual reaction from the Supreme Court members who are there, or how that's received in the audience. So there is the potential really for there to be some fireworks between the president and the court.
What will you be looking for specifically when it comes to the president's talk about Iran and possible war or posturing going in there?
We saw in Venezuela, the U.S. special forces were able to go in pretty quickly easily obtain their objectives, how are we going to deal with the potential that that might not happen in Iran? The president, came into office and was talking, pretty extensively about not getting the United States engaged in military conflict. And if it doesn't work out for the United States, that could be a tension between him and other people in his political party.
So we will find out soon. The president's speech will begin at 9 p.m. tonight. Of course, we'll carry it live right here on News 6. Ladies.
Matt, thank you. More cars, more gridlock. Now leaders are moving forward with a toll road to give better access to a local airport.
How much you will pay and when it could finally break ground, that's coming up.
If you have a screen door and it looks a lot like this because your puppy has made it, come here, Bennett, his own doggy door, we're going to show you how to fix this quick. I'm Eric Von Anken. We're getting results at home coming up.
This portion of the news is sponsored by Seminole Hard Rock Hotel and Casino.
Hey, I'm News 6 anchor Eric Von Anken. The handy newsman over there is Jeff, the crafty cameraman. And today we're getting results at home in Sanford, showing you how to fix this, a broken screen door, in 6 easy steps with only about $20 worth of supplies. And Jeff, no, we don't need the Sawzall today for this project. The way this door got this way, Bennett, come here. Bennett used it as a doggy door. Step 1, take off your screen door so you can work on it. Lift it up and pull it out. Step 2 is pull out all the old spline. You might have to dig it out with a screwdriver and then pull off the old screen. Step 3 is a house hack for you. Use a flat blade screwdriver. Make sure you clean out the tracks so the new spline goes in easily. Step 4 is pick up a roll of screen that fits your size door. We got this one at Ace. And then roll it out over your door. Sorry, Jeff. Step 5, spline time. This is the key to making all of this work. You want to take your old spline and match it up with your new spline. In fact, you could even take your old spline with you to Ace. I always pick one corner to start. Essentially, we're going to press the spline down into the track using this tool. And step 6, the last step. When I finish one side, I always like to go directly across and then work on that side so you can keep it tight as you work your way down. Just trimming off the extra screen and then we're pretty much done. That came out great. Looks good to me. The question now is how long until Bennett pushes through it again, right? We're going to get out of here before he wakes up. Getting results at home in Sanford, Eric Von Anken, News 6.
Hey,
It's
it
great.
happens.
They get excited,
They
you know?
They do,
Yeah.
and you know, you can't really see
Yeah.
the screen door till you get up to it, and then it's too late. I've
Too
known
late.
people to walk through a screen door, so Bennett's not in trouble. All right,
It happens.
Let's talk about our forecast now.
Yeah.
Meteorologist Jonathan Kegas joins us now, and Jonathan, we're talking about a great need for some rain in the area.
We do, and I think we have a little bit of it coming as we get towards the end of the work week and start of the weekend. We're going to get into that part of your forecast in just 1 minute. Of course, we talked about this yesterday. Cold start this morning, right around the freezing mark in Sanford, 37. In Orlando, 29 in the Villages. Another hard freeze for us in Ocala at 27 degrees. It's another cold night tonight, but not as cold. Most of Central Florida under that frost advisory for the opportunity for some frost to develop, so you might have to scrape the windshield if you're parked outside tomorrow. This is because our winds are now going calm. Certainly, it was calm. It was cold enough last night for frost, but still the wind was elevated a little bit. Where you see it not shaded in, that's where we have a freeze warning in play. And again, that is going to be for us in Marion County as our temperature is back in the ballpark of the freezing mark again when you wake up tomorrow morning. In terms of tomorrow, again, here we go in Denellen, right at the freezing mark. Ocala, we are at 34 in the Villages. We're at 36 in Oviedo, a touch warmer by a degree or two in Orlando at 38, relatively speaking. That's air quotes there. 46 in Cocoa Beach when you start your day tomorrow. It looks nice outside. It's a live look in downtown Orlando with our Light Orlando Delivering Hope Skycam this evening. It's hanging around 60. It feels great in the sun. The breeze out of the west-northwest, much lighter at about 5 to 10 miles an hour. It's putting our temperatures right now into the mid-50s in Palm Coast, 57 in Wildwood, Holapa. We are at 61 degrees. It's certainly chilly on the southeast corner of the United States right now. We're still hanging in the lower 50s towards Atlanta. Look at the warmth beginning to build closer to Texas, where they're in the low 70s in Dallas, hanging right around 70 in Houston. That is the warm up coming in this direction. And it's all because of this chunk of high pressure. Right now, it's sitting pretty much right on top of us. That's why our winds will continue to calm down through the evening and overnight and through tomorrow. But as that guy moves right out over the Atlantic tomorrow, there's that clockwise airflow around high pressure. That's going to start to pump back in the warmth into Central Florida by as early as tomorrow, and then really by the end of the work week, that'll also give us that extra moisture by Friday. So there we go tomorrow, a little bit closer to where we should be for this time of the year, in the low to mid 70s. We'll fast forward out to Friday, and here's our next storm system. Late into the evening, rain chance is going to start to go up. We're pausing this at 8 o'clock on your Saturday morning, and you see what could be a nice dose of rain late Friday night into the early stages of Sunday. Watching that closely again for some timing continuity there, but nonetheless, it does look like that it's starting to ramp up a little bit, those rain chances for the end of the work week. 81 on Thursday, rain chances 30% on Friday, but most of that is late Friday night into the first part of Saturday. Then temperatures take a little bit of a tumble back to the mid-70s by Sunday afternoon, guys.
All right, Jonathan, thank you. Leaders just approved millions of dollars for a new toll road to a local airport.
Yeah, the catch, taxpayers pay now, but you won't see construction for years. We'll explain why next.
This portion of the news is sponsored by Light Orlando.
Easy access to the airport, but at a cost.
Seminole County is moving forward with millions for a connector toll road to ease congestion and deal with growth. But as your Seminole County community correspondent Catherine Silver explains, taxpayers will be footing the bill as they wait to pay the tolls.
Seminole County is pledging $50 million total, $25 million up front and then another $25 million down the line, all for a road that drivers won't even be able to see construction start on for years. There's only so much traffic this stretch of Lake Mary Boulevard can take near Sanford's airport. And by 2050, officials expect more than 36,000 cars will drive this path every day.
Sometimes, in the morning, it's bad.
Underneath that bridge and everything, it's just so bad. Sometimes you sit there for 10 minutes at that light.
Drivers we spoke to Tuesday say they would appreciate anything to ease congestion, even if they have to pay for it.
90% of the time, this lane, that right lane, is all the way down.
A proposed toll road connecting the 417 to the airport would give them another option. The approved route starts near the Lake Jessup Toll Plaza and heads northeast. But progress comes with a price. That route cuts through homes and properties. And the actual price tag is estimated around $200 million. Funding it is just one challenge ahead as the project moves closer to the design phase. Construction is expected to start in 2031.
It would cut a lot of this traffic.
In Seminole County, Catherine Silver, News 6.
Brevard County leaders are voting no on raising its gas tax. That's the per gallon fee you pay at the pump. So why was the county considering increasing it in the first place? The Space Coast Transportation Planning Organization says the current funding formula is insufficient to cover the county's transportation projects. It says the county will only be able to pay 9% of its more than $2.5 billion in transportation needs through 2050, including projects like widening State Road 524. Now, more than half of Florida's counties are already charging an extra 12 cents per gallon. That's the maximum, including several here in Central Florida. Brevard is one of 11, still sitting at 6 cents. Well, once wearing a badge, now facing drug charges.
What's next for the former Daytona Beach officer accused of trafficking fentanyl?
A 74-year-old man dies after someone runs him over along this part of the course of a half marathon. I'm your Melbourne community correspondent, James Sparvero. I'll bring you the latest on this tragic investigation.
Welcome back. We're following several top stories right now. We're seeing the moments leading up to a deputy shooting and killing a 16-year-old who was accused of shoplifting at a Walmart superstore.
This happened last week in Poinciana. In it, it appears the Osceola County Sheriff's deputy is yelling, drop it," in reference to the gun they say 16-year-old Jairus Jones was holding. The sheriff's office paused the video due to a state statute that precludes any depiction of the death of a minor. A nearly 160-acre brush fire is still active tonight in Daytona Beach. The fire is just off LPGA Boulevard near the Mosaic Neighborhood and Tennis Center. About 80 homes were forced to be evacuated last night. The neighborhood is back open today. Fire officials say crews are holding the line, but the threat is not over yet. A Marion County daycare teacher is facing child abuse charges tonight. The sheriff's office says Laura Flores was an employee at Bright Beginnings Learning Center in Summerfield. According to an arrest report, one of the kids came home with bruises and abrasions on his cheeks, and that sparked the investigation. Flores is facing 3 counts of felony child abuse.
Tragedy at a marathon. A 74-year-old runner is dead after a driver hit him. Your Melbourne community correspondent James Barbero is asking how this happened and whether a driver will face charges.
A 74-year-old man dies after someone runs him over along this part of the course of a half marathon. The police tell me it happened near US 1 and Hibiscus Boulevard on Sunday, February 8th. The Florida Marathon says someone drove into the lane for runners and hit Albert A.J. Swan. This is the 74-year-old from Georgia, pictured in his obituary. He died 8 days after being hit.
Yeah, that's pretty tragic.
I talked to runners where another part of the race took place, the 192 Causeway. What do you think about a driver crossing over onto the closed side of the street? How could that happen?
Yeah, I don't know how that could happen. The guy was probably drunk or something, I don't know.
I asked that same question to police, but all they told me was it's still under investigation. Same for when I asked if there's video of the collision. The driver has not been charged. I imagine when you run a race, you expect to be safe.
Yeah, you expect to be safe. You expect other people to just be cautious of what, their surroundings. I'm hoping that nobody did that on purpose.
What would you like to see happen to that driver?
Get some jail time, yeah, for sure. Pretty much murdered the guy.
A.J. Swan's obituary reads the 74-year-old was running in his 31st half marathon. I've made public records requests from police for any 911 calls from witnesses and any reports from police at the scene. We'll add all updates to this investigation on clickorlando.com. In Brevard County, I'm your Melbourne community correspondent, James Sparvero, News 6.
Also, Brevard County, a woman arrested in a disturbing animal abuse case was expected to appear before a judge today for new charges of child abuse. Deputies rearrested her just hours after the sheriff said on social media he was upset she'd been set free. And we want to warn you, some of what you're about to see is disturbing.
To get at the family member, she takes their cat and she punches it, throws it on the ground, chokes it. I mean, you name it, she did it in abusing this cat, just so she could get back at the family member.
Sheriff Wayne Ivey says 49-year-old Sarah Jenkins went after her daughter's cat as a form of punishment. The daughter recorded the attack before running to a nearby Publix. Jenkins was released on Sunday, but according to the jail, she was booked again last night on a child abuse charge. The report says because she had no reason to attack the cat, it is considered mental injury to a child. Jenkins' bond is set at $5,000. The cat, who is named Mila, is now in the care of a veterinarian.
A former Daytona Beach police officer arrested on drug charges will stay in jail. She was set to be in court this morning where a discussion for bond was scheduled, but as News 6's Mark Lehman tells us, the trial is moving forward with the former officer behind bars.
Coming into today's hearing, Amber Williamson was looking at separate schedules for the cases she's facing here at the courthouse. And the clerk now tells me that they're all moving forward with the same timeline as her defense is preparing for trial.
40-year-old Amber Williamson was noticeably absent from the courtroom as there was a brief discussion on the next steps for her most recent drug trafficking case. The former Daytona Beach police officer was first arrested last month after Port Orange police identified her as a fentanyl dealer during an investigation.
This isn't like she was shoplifting. I mean, this is a deadly game that's being played with this fentanyl.
Volusia County Sheriff Mike Chitwood hired Williamson in 2009 when he was Daytona Beach's police chief, and she remained with the department for 10 years. Chitwood telling us in a previous interview he was especially disappointed to learn after her initial arrest, a judge released Williamson on her own recognizance.
He whiffed on this one. I mean, judges are like umpires, and when they make mistakes, in my opinion, they should be called out.
Williamson was rearrested days later on more warrants connected to drug trafficking. She was later ordered to be held without bond while awaiting trial.
That to walk out the front door, ROR, like, oh, nothing's ever going to happen again, that you're basically urinating in the face of all the hardworking cops that are trying to stop this and telling them it's raining outside.
Last week, an order was also filed substituting a new attorney for Williamson. Both he and his client are expected back in court next month as pretrial in her cases has been set for March 19th. In Daytona Beach, Mark Lehman, News 6.
Staff at colleges and universities who receive training could soon be allowed to carry firearms on campuses. Today, the Republican-controlled Senate Appropriations Committee backed a proposal that builds on changes made in the K-12 public school system after the 2018 mass shooting at Parkland's Marjorie Stoneman Douglas High School. The bill gained traction this year as lawmakers recalled a shooting during last year's legislative session where a student killed 2 people and hurt 5 others at Florida State University.
If the bad guys cared about the law, there would be no school shootings because it's already illegal to shoot someone. This law is for the good guys.
Democratic Senator Carlos Guillermo Smith opposes the legislation.
I fundamentally don't believe that adding more guns to the equation on college campuses is what will make us safer.
The bill now heads to the full Senate. The House version of the bill is up for a floor vote on Wednesday. Another bill moving through Tallahassee could change how some traffic stops play out for drivers on the autism spectrum. The measure would create a voluntary system where drivers with autism can keep their license, registration, and insurance inside a distinct blue envelope. When handed to an officer during a traffic stop, it would signal that the driver may experience communication challenges or heightened stress. The bill has cleared the Senate. It heads back to the House for a vote on Thursday. If the bill passes, it would go into effect July 1st.
A heartbreaking new video from the daughter of missing 84-year-old Nancy Guthrie. Today's Show host Savannah Guthrie says her family is offering a $1 million reward for information leading to their mom's recovery. The investigation into her disappearance has not led to any arrest or leads on Guthrie's whereabouts. Lee Waldman has the latest.
I'm coming on to say it is day 24 since our mom was taken in the dark of night from her bed.
As law enforcement is working on the investigation into the disappearance of Nancy Guthrie, her daughter, Today's Show anchor Savannah Guthrie, is offering up a reward for her mother's recovery.
We are offering a family reward of up to $1 million.
This is in addition to the FBI's $100,000 reward for information about 84-year-old Guthrie. It's the first we've heard from one of Guthrie's children in more than a week. Amidst the plea, Savannah Guthrie acknowledged for the first time that her mother may no longer be alive.
She may have already gone home to the Lord that she loves.
CNN's chief law enforcement and intelligence analyst John Miller believes this video comes as substantive tips in the case are slowing down.
The family still believes, and investigators concur with this, that there's still someone out there, maybe more than one someone, who actually knows.
Meanwhile, new details have emerged about the masked person seen on doorbell camera footage. The suspect visited her doorstep on 2 different days, not just the morning she is believed to have been kidnapped, a source told CNN. The Pima County Sheriff's Department said in a statement Monday there is no date or time stamp associated with these images, and suggesting the photos were taken on different days is purely speculative. In New York, Lee Waldman, News 6.
NASA is getting ready to roll the Artemis 2 rocket back from the launch pad. It was expected to begin today, but now it is set for tomorrow. NASA is blaming high winds and cold temperatures as the reasons for the delay. Over the weekend, during a test, engineers detected an issue with helium flow to the rocket's upper stage. That means it now has to make the 4-mile trip back to the vehicle assembly building for inspection and repairs. Managers say the quick decision could help protect an April launch window for the Artemis 2 mission around the moon, but that depends on what they discover. Investigators are searching for the 2 teens on an e-bike who they say hit a 5-year-old boy and then took off.
We will have the sheriff's push for new rules at the beach. That's next. Plus, we're seeing how the record-shattering snowstorm up north is impacting flights out of Orlando today. Jonathan.
It was cold, but it was not that you just saw there. Temperatures rebounding nicely back to the 60s, upper 50s for some of us. That's about 15 degrees below where we should be. We'll talk about a big warm-up after another cold night tonight, though, at about 4:47.
And as we head to break, a reminder for you to join us and check out our primetime schedule on News 6 Plus. We have a new take on the day's news on News 6 tonight. That's at 9. Go in depth as we answer your weather questions at 9:30. Then watch the late news an hour earlier. It's all tonight on News 6 Plus. Download our streaming app for free. Search WKMG in your smart TV's app store. It's also available on Roku, Apple TV, and Fire TV.
This portion of the news is sponsored by Seminole Hard Rock Hotel and Casino.
A 5-year-old boy is recovering after being hit by an e-bike on Daytona Beach last weekend. Volusia Sheriff deputies say 2 teens were riding the bike and left the scene.
Now investigators are asking for your help to find them. They've released the video and 911 calls. News 6's Alex Cook joins us from Daytona Beach with more of those videos and calls and the calls for new rules for e-bikes on the beach.
This is one of the few beaches in Florida where vehicles share the sand with sunbathing families. Cars are supposed to stick to these traffic lanes behind me, but that doesn't apply to e-bikes. Deputies say that 5-year-old boy was walking to the ocean with his bucket when the e-bike came by and hit him. Now, the sheriff is looking for the public's help finding those 2 teenagers who fled the scene.
Deputies shared this surveillance still of the e-bike they say shows 2 teenagers riding southbound Saturday afternoon near Sand Splash Park. We're learning from 911 calls that 5-year-old boy was at the beach with a family friend. When his mother found out he was hit, she called 911 while rushing to her son. That family friend broke the awful news to the boy's mother, and that's when she dialed 911.
She just called me and told me that he got ran over by a bike and the dude kept going.
When deputies arrived, they found lifeguards caring for that injured child.
You could see a tire mark all down the side of his path. They ran over it and they left the scene.
Deputies say the boy has minor injuries. Volusia County Sheriff Mike Chitwood says e-bikes on the beach are a growing problem.
This could have been a lot worse.
I spoke with the boy's mother on the phone. She said he's going to be okay, but she wanted to release this statement. E-bikes have become a popular choice in our community over the years, but they are still deadly, especially for kids. Beaches aren't streets. It's time safety came first. E-bikes are allowed on the beaches and they don't have to stay in those traffic lanes. Sheriff Chitwood says that might need to change.
Maybe the county will be able to pass some kind of an ordinance that forces these e-bikes at least into the traffic lane for us, so they're a lot easier to control than allowing them to zip around all over on the beach like now.
We'll follow what comes of the sheriff's push for stricter rules for e-bikes on the beach. For now, deputies are focused on finding these two teenagers who hit a 5-year-old boy and rode away. In Daytona Beach, Alex Cook, News 6.
Millions of Americans across the Northeast are digging out from the massive snowstorm that pummeled the region. The monster blizzard dumped more than 37 inches of snow on Providence, Rhode Island, setting a new record there. New York's Long Island was buried under more than 30 inches, shattering a 50-year-old record there. New York City recorded its highest total snowfall in almost a decade, with nearly 20 inches in some areas, bringing the city to a standstill.
The snow is really slushy. It's just on the edge of freezing. It's very heavy to shovel.
The storm dumped more than 3 feet of snow in Massachusetts, knocking out power to tens of thousands of customers there. Many people trying to fly out of the storm's path were also impacted, including a couple trying to get back to Jacksonville after attending the Olympics in Italy.
The earliest we can get you out now is Friday. Once we landed, we found out we were canceled, rebooked. And then while we were still in line to get through customs, canceled, rebooked. Canceled, rebooked.
Canceled, rebooked 5 times.
Oh boy, thousands of flights have already been canceled for today as airlines continue working to get things back on track and some sense of normalcy there. All right, a live look at Orlando International Airport right now from our Light Orlando Delivering Hope camera. According to FlightAware, there are so far a total of 82 cancellations and 115 delayed flights. That's just today. We saw hundreds of canceled flights at MCO yesterday as well. If you do have a trip or are expecting someone, make sure to check ahead of time for their flight, because chances are there's going to be some kind of delay.
Still, when you look at that picture, it's kind of hard for us to complain as we bring in meteorologist Jonathan Kagas, right? You know, it is chilly outside, but at least we're not dealing with the mess that they have to deal with up north right
That is
now.
a lot of snow. And like the guy said in the video we saw, it's that heavy, wet, cement-like snow, too. So it's not just that fluffy powder you're skiing in. That's some bad stuff up there. It looked pretty, though. Temperatures back to the upper 50s and lower 60s across the board right now. We're at 57 in Melbourne, 60 in Kissimmee, 60 in Groveland. We are running about 15 to 17 degrees below where we should be for this time of the year. So certainly cooler, but again, we don't have any of that white stuff that they're dealing with up there. It's been a wild February so far, kind of a tale between two halves of the month. Started things off with record cold, of course. That was the big freeze from the first and second. We kept things really chilly through that week and then even into the second week of February. Then we had a nice little warm up over the last couple of weeks, and now we're back in the freezer again. Cold yesterday. The blue represents below normal temperatures. And then once it becomes official, just after 5 o'clock today, we're going to get another box there, indicating another below normal morning across the month of February. Here's a live look in Port Canaveral, Brevard County, and we're going to add another one of those to the calendar when you wake up tomorrow, most of us into the 30s once again. We're back to 56 right now, though. The breeze. This is the one thing that's making it feel a little bit better out there. I talked about this yesterday, that we would watch that wind gradually back off today. That's a beautiful look there with our Launch Credit Union camera. Tomorrow morning, though, 38 degrees in Orlando. Mount Dora, good evening. We are at 37, back to the upper 30s in Apopka as well. 34 in Ocala, Denellen. We are at 32 degrees, where we do have a freeze warning in effect for Marion County. Frost advisory everywhere else. So again, with the clear skies, calm winds, temperatures getting into the mid to upper 30s. Perfect ingredients for some frost. So keep that in mind if your car is parked outside. Might have to do a little scraping tomorrow morning. 73 though, nice rebound. If you let it just sit in the sun for a little bit, it'll be gone in no time. 73 in Leesburg, Palm Coast. We are at 71, just a few notches below where we should be for this time of the year in the high temperature department. Then we're going to start to warm things back up, and that's going to help to introduce some rain back into the picture. You see that sliding through late Friday into Saturday. This is 5 o'clock on Saturday evening. You see some of the darker reds and oranges around, indicating the potential anyway for some heavier rain as that slides through. Now, I'm watching this closely because, of course, we also have the Princess Half Marathon weekend in town. 81 degrees on Saturday, but especially the opportunity for the rain comes the first half of Saturday, at least the highest chance for that. Temperatures on Sunday still very warm by the afternoon, 30% shot in the morning for a few of those showers. Gradual warm-up continues, really starts tomorrow. 73 degrees on Wednesday, 81 on Thursday. There are those rain chances coming back on Friday. It's only 30% in the afternoon. Most of that rolls through late Friday night and then into Saturday. Temperatures back to the middle 80s on Saturday, mid-70s on Sunday with a stray opportunity for a few showers early in the day, guys.
All right, Jonathan, thank you. Well, stuck trying to parallel park with cars stacking up behind you. There is a surprising rule on how many tries you're actually allowed.
That is surprising. Our traffic safety expert, Trooper Steve, explains what you need to know next.
Coming up in the morning, keeping kids safe on e-bikes, a new plan in place to protect hundreds of kids.
Plus, a local attraction changing the way you pay, where you can soon leave your cash behind.
Join us for News 6 Morning starting at 6.
All right, I like a good Scenario question: is there a time limit when attempting to park? My mom causes rather the show. All right, so short answer, no specific stopwatch in Florida law, but here's the deal. Traffic laws do say you can't obstruct the normal flow of traffic. So if your parking attempt turns into a 16-point maneuver, a 3-act play, and maybe a small audience forming behind you, congratulations, you're now the problem. So look, everyone struggles sometimes, that's fine, but if you've tried a few times and it's just not happening, wave traffic around you or just simply move on and find another spot. Pride's not worth the gridlock. So parking is not a competitive sport. If you start to sweat and you're getting nervous, pulling forward, reversing again, that parking space may not be meant for you today. So be courteous, keep traffic moving, and remember, the best parking job is one that doesn't cause a traffic jam. If you got a traffic question, please email me. Head on over to clickorlando.com/AskTrooperSteve or email me, like I said, to AskTrooperSteve@WKMG.com.
One Florida woman is proving you do not have to age out of something you love doing.
Absolutely. At 98 years old, Maggie Kennedy from Stewart is still calling the shots with her pool cue. And she doesn't just play for fun, she's competitive and very good too. You could chalk that up to experience. In fact, Kennedy is participating in the BCA National Tournament. It's going on right now in Las Vegas and runs through Saturday. According to the Guinness Book of World Records, Kennedy became the oldest competitive pool player in 2021 when she was just a mere 94 years old.
That is awesome.
You go.
Good,
I love
good
her.
for her.
Yeah. All right, News 6 at 5 is next.
Anchor Matt Austin is in the newsroom with what's ahead.
A major brush fire lit up the skies around Volusia County last night. Now we're getting an update coming up where the fire stands this evening as we get a live report at the top of the hour. Plus, a social media trend people are getting really tired of, the Ring doorbell video we have. Neighbors say shows that door kick challenge is still happening. And your forecast is only minutes away. Don't forget, you can stream all of our newscasts and live cameras like this look at Daytona Beach for free anytime on News 6 Plus.
Now at 5, a teen dead and an officer on leave. A first look at the moments leading up to an officer-involved shooting inside a busy Walmart. Plus, tragedy turns into a new court fight. The new developments in the death of a Titusville teen on a Carnival cruise ship. And
it's a prank that's getting out of hand. Coming up, I spoke with homeowners who live in Winter Garden. They say this door kick challenge is becoming a nuisance.
You're watching News 6 at 5.
We begin at 5 with a look at the pure chaos inside an Osceola County Walmart moments before a deputy opened fire on a teenager who was accused of shoplifting, killing him.
So this still image from a deputy's body cam shows a gun in the teen's hand, or at least it appears to show that. News 6's Mike Valenti joins us live from outside the Walmart with the video. Mike, we're only getting really a glimpse into what happened here.
Yeah, Matt, a glimpse indeed. In fact, the Osceola County Sheriff's Office is only releasing several seconds of body cam footage, cutting it off before we ever hear gunshots.
Stop it! Stop it! In this brief video, we hear what appears to be the words of Deputy Terrence Blackman, giving commands to 16-year-old Jairus Jones. The video then cuts off. We at News 6 did not edit the video in any way. The Sheriff's Office says the agency cannot release footage depicting the death of a minor. One frame of the video paused by the Sheriff's Office to highlight what's in Jones' hand. A spokesperson said last week that the deputy opened fire because Jones was running while holding a gun in an area of the store where there were a lot of Walmart shoppers. Deputy Blackman, who is not related to Sheriff Christopher Blackman, has been on the force since early 2022 and is now on administrative leave in the wake of last Thursday's incident, which the Sheriff's Office said started when the deputy and a loss prevention officer confronted Jones and two other people about stolen items. That's when the office says Jones ran. So the two other people who were apparently with Jones that night, according to authorities, one was a minor, one of Jones's friends. The other was Jones's adult brother. Just talked to a Sheriff's Office spokesperson earlier this afternoon. She said that those two people have not been arrested or charged, but they are still under investigation by the Sheriff's Office. We're live outside the Walmart Superstore in Point Siena. I'm News 6's Mike Valenti. Back to you.
And thank you, Mike. That was just the first, one of two involved shootings in just a week. The other, that was officer involved outside a Walmart on East Colonial Drive in Orange County. Investigators say deputies shot an armed man who, quote, repeatedly ignored commands Sunday night. Deputies say the man was attempting to steal, and they found him near Lake Burge Road. Deputies say a taser didn't work. That's when they gave commands to, quote, not reach before they shot. The man had non-life-threatening injuries. To get the latest updates on these stories and other breaking news anytime, head over to our website, clickorlando.com.
In Volusia County, we showed you video yesterday as breaking news, a brush fire forcing people to evacuate their homes. The fire is just off LPGA Boulevard near the Mosaic neighborhood and tennis center. People in many of the more than 80 homes are just starting to return there. Your Volusia County community correspondent Molly Reed joins us now live. And Molly, moments ago, people in that community got some encouraging news about this firefight.
They did. We heard just now from Daytona Beach Fire Department that this fire is now 100% contained. A long fight after they say it broke out yesterday morning. Firefighters working around the clock, and we're now getting a look at just how close their work actually got to some of these folks' homes here in the Mosaic neighborhood. These are lines that the Florida Forestry Service cut to try to stop the fire from moving into these houses. And again, we talked to some of these residents as they got home today and saw their houses still standing.
I said, this thing escalated like 10 times what it was, like in 15, 20 minutes.
Michael Reiprish says his family had to think fast and book it out of their house Monday night. He says evacuation orders came right after they saw the flames starting to close in.
So I ended up gathering up what I could, got the dog, and we took off, and we tried to stay at a hotel nearby, but that was booked already. So we just went over to one over at the beach, and it was pretty good, but this is one of the scariest things I've ever been through.
Our drone video shows you the lines firefighters made to stop the flames from reaching their home. Thankfully, the Reiprish family and the 79 others evacuated came back to their houses still standing, but you can see how close it got.
And you could still see the glow, so I was a little
curious if it was safe or not.
Resident Connor Ray also sharing this video with us showing firefight teams picking up water and then dropping it in the woods right behind his house. Firefighters tell us the weather today is on their side, but the situation could change again quickly, so they're on high alert.
It would be pushing south if it pushed anywhere, but we have our equipment out ahead of it, and the forward progression for the most part is stopped.
Firefighters Monday and today dropped 72 200-gallon buckets fighting this Bennett Field fire. They say the surrounding swamp in the area has also made it difficult to get equipment in to stop the fire.
Right now, mainly pushing lines so that we can get our engines in there. We can work with Daytona Beach Fire Rescue, and they can get equipment and engines in there to run hoses and start mopping up the fire's edge.
Again, good news we just heard within the last 10 minutes. This fire has been 100% contained to 227 acres. Firefighters do tell us that they are still investigating to find out what might have caused it. I'm here, Volusia County Community Correspondent Molly Reed, News 6.
Molly, thank you. That fire risk continues across the area tonight, along with those cold temperatures you woke up to this morning.
Well, let's get right over to meteorologist Jonathan Kagas. So, Jonathan, what sort of changes can we expect in the next coming several days?
Yeah, well, the good news is, as Molly mentioned, they mentioned that the weather was on their side today, and of course, it is still really dry. That didn't change. The one thing that did, we were talking about this yesterday, the wind. We are almost calm across a lot of central Florida. Every now and then we have a wind gust of 5 to 10 miles an hour along I-4, maybe 15 to 20 miles an hour along the coast, but things are settling down, and we will continue to see things settle down. Now, the one thing that we do need to change, and I do see changes in this department as well as we gradually move on through the week ahead, is the relative humidity. Obviously, you don't need me to tell you that the air is really dry outside, but if you step outside, this is why the relative humidity is in the lower 20s in the percentage range. Again, once it's in the teens and 20s, it is very easy for fires to start. But at least today, we got rid of the other wild card, which is the wind. We'll talk about when rain chances go up to hopefully help things a little further anyway. We need a lot of it. Not going to bust a drought in one setting, but we do have some rain in the forecast. We'll get to that at about 5:17, guys.
All right, Jonathan, thank you. A Titusville teen's death on a cruise ship is prompting a new legal battle among her family.
18-year-old Anna Kepner was found dead on a Carnival Horizon cruise ship in November. Relatives say Kepner's younger brother is a suspect in her murder. News 6 investigator Mike DeForest broke the latest developments in this saga on clickorlando.com. So, Mike, what are you learning tonight?
Well, Matt, Anna Kepner was part of a blended family. Before her untimely death on that cruise ship, she lived with her biological dad and her stepmother, along with her step-siblings and siblings. Now, the teen's death has family members rushing to the courthouse, fighting over custody of Kepner's younger brothers and sisters.
It's been nearly 4 months since Anna Kepner was found dead on the Carnival Horizon. The FBI and federal prosecutors are still not discussing the investigation. But family members say Kepner died from asphyxiation and that her 16-year-old stepbrother, identified in court papers as TH, is facing juvenile court proceedings after being identified as a suspect in her murder. After Kepner's death, her biological father, Christopher, and stepmother, Chantel, have been in court battling for custody of Chantel's 2 children from a previous marriage, including the one they call a murder suspect. Chantel Kepner's ex-husband, Thomas Hudson, has argued those children are better off with him, in part because of what happened on this cruise ship. In a newly filed court paper, that ex-husband writes, according to social media from the Kepner family, TH was charged by the United States Attorney in the Southern District of Florida for the redacted and homicide of Anna Kepner. News 6 has been unable to independently verify the ex-husband's claim, and it's unclear why part of that court filing has been redacted.
Now, family members have said the younger stepbrother's legal issues are being handled in juvenile court. Now, if true, that means any court documents detailing the allegations against him and ultimately the outcome of that juvenile case will be sealed by a judge. Lisa and Matt.
Mike DeForest, thank you. Some new documents show 2 brothers are suing Central Florida's newest theme park. Their lawsuit claims they were injured while riding Harry Potter and the Battle at the Ministry in December. That's at Universal's Epic Universe. According to that lawsuit, the ride vehicle stopped abruptly due to a malfunction, causing the men back and neck injuries. The law firm the brothers are working with, Morgan & Morgan, put out a statement on this. They said, in part, the most important job of a theme park is to keep its guests safe. Instead, Universal allegedly operated a ride that had been plagued by repeated malfunctions, glitches, and hard stops since it opened. We checked state theme park injury reports from October to December. Those reports do not show the injuries. We'll continue to follow up. We'll let you know when we learn more.
Taking a live look over our nation's capital, where in just a few hours, President Trump will deliver the State of the Union address. It is set to begin at 9 o'clock tonight. He is expected to focus on the economy and foreign policy.
Address tonight. You're going to hear a speech that is a celebration of 250 years of our nation and our nation's independence.
The speech comes as President Trump's policies, from tariffs to immigration enforcement, face pushback in the courts and Congress. Lawmakers will also be looking out for what the president has to say about Iran. A massive military buildup is currently taking place in the region as the administration is weighing possible action over Iran's nuclear program.
Everything is on the table. It's the president's decision. We're here to help ensure that a deal is made. And I think Iran would be wise to make a good deal.
Virginia Governor Abigail Spanberger is delivering tonight's official Democratic response. The address starts again tonight at 9. You can watch it live right here on WKMG. We will also be streaming this speech on clickorlando.com.
Well, it's a social media challenge, some say, that has gone too far.
Apparently, people are running up to houses, kicking the door, then running away.
Next at 5, we have some Ring doorbell video of one of those scenes as we talk to homeowners who just want this to stop. And later, a dating app scare. What police say happened when a woman took a Brightline train down to visit someone she had just recently met online. You're watching News 6 at 5. A live look out at Port Canaveral on a beautiful, cool day with our Launch Credit Union camera. We'll be right back.
This portion of the news is sponsored by Launch Credit Union.
Well, it's a teen prank that just goes a little too far.
Yeah, way too far. The social media trend of running up and kicking someone's front door has already led to charges against one Central Florida teen. But as your West Orange County community correspondent Talisa Hampton discovered, the trend is still spreading, with one neighborhood raising the alarm.
Pranks gone too far.
It's just really frustrating and unnerving. I mean, it has been going on for at least a month.
The footprints on Brittany Connor's front door were left by teens during the door kick challenge, a social media trend where kids kick the door and run away. How has this impacted you and your family?
Well, I mean, my nerves are frayed because I'm, trying to make my children dinner and then they slam the door so hard, which that in itself makes you jump.
Around the neighborhood, others experienced the same thing, as well as the Ding Dong Ditch challenge shown in this video. Meanwhile, another homeowner sent us this video. Teens covering their faces and his camera while he says they kick his door, scaring him and his son. Across Central Florida, at least one teen was arrested in connection with the challenge that some fear could lead to grave outcomes.
These kids, I'm sure they think it's funny, but I mean, you just don't know what's going to happen on the other side of that door.
And we did reach out to the Orange County Sheriff's Office about the problems that we're seeing in this area. They replied in part, quote, "These type of pranks are not funny and can be terrifying for residents who feel they are in danger if someone is trying to kick in their door. First and foremost, we want young people to know that this could land them in real trouble." Reporting for News 6, I'm Talisa Hampton.
Yeah, young kids, middle of the night, doing something like that, it could lead to some really bad things.
People could think that they're under attack in that situation. All right, let's get you over to our meteorologist, Jonathan Kagas, as we take a look at that beautiful Port Canaveral camera. Really nice looking day out there. Got a little bit of a bite to it at times.
At times, yeah, especially this morning, obviously, when you woke up, and then the wind backed off a little bit when you're basking in the sun. It feels pretty nice, relatively speaking anyway. It's a live look outside again, Port Canaveral, Brevard County with our Launch Credit Union camera. Again, it looks gorgeous out there. It's a little chilly in the mid-50s under a mainly clear sky. That's the big factor here, that the breeze has backed off. Sustained at about 5 to 10 miles along the coast, it has gone nearly calm inland, and we will continue to watch the wind relax gradually through the rest of the next couple of hours. And by the time you wake up tomorrow morning, that is why we have another cold morning coming our way. Back to the upper 50s right now in Mount Dora. Good evening in Ocala. We are at 60s. Elwood and Sorrento, we're hanging tight in the upper 50s as well. Leesburg, we're back to 58 degrees. Now here's a look at your forecast. Temperature is going to get back into the mid to upper 30s when you wake up tomorrow morning. Sneaky, probably going to get down as cold as where we were last night. It'll feel a little bit better, though, because of the fact that the wind isn't blowing as hard. We're at 34 degrees in Ocala, 32 in Denellen at the freezing mark. We're in the mid to upper 30s in Orlando as well. Holopah, we are back to 34 degrees. Again, clear skies, calm nights are the perfect way to cool the atmosphere, and that's exactly what we're going to do tonight. Bubble of warmth, though, building across parts of the southern plains, and we are going to watch this over the next couple of days, kind of skirt its way across the North Gulf Coast and then back toward Florida. Starting tomorrow, we'll start to change things up a little bit. And then really as we get into Thursday and Friday, high temperatures tomorrow, still a few notches below where we should be for this time of the year. That puts us back in the low to mid 70s. Average is in the upper 70s. So we are getting there, but we will really continue to surge past that as we push towards Thursday. So again, the average in the upper 70s. We're back to the lower 80s on Thursday. We build on that Friday and Saturday. A touch cooler behind another system that works its way in for the weekend. But that system could bring us some beneficial rain, and if things hold, we could end up picking up a ½ inch to an inch, maybe even more, right smack dab in the middle of the Florida Peninsula. So we are obviously rooting for this. If you have weekend plans, again, watching this closely. Here is our next system. It really starts to push in some moisture late Friday evening. So if you're getting off of work on Friday, I think things are still pretty good, but it's going to be shortly after that that the moisture starts to push in. There's 10 o'clock in the morning on Saturday, watching for a half marathon weekend. Again, scattered downpours in the mix for that. And then we'll continue to watch that into parts of Sunday, although I'm optimistic that by that point, if you do have plans on Sunday, that most of that will be down towards Lake Okeechobee and towards the Bahamas by that point. But again, we need the rain, and it looks like we have a little bit coming. Not going to bust a drought by any means, but we'll take what we can get, of course. 84 on Friday. That 30% shot for rain is really late in the day. The morning of the afternoon looking good. 84 degrees on Saturday with a 50% shot for rain, 20% chance very early on Sunday. And then we dry things back out and warm things back up again early next work week, guys.
Thank you, Jonathan. You can open up your camera app, scan the QR code on your screen right now, click the link. We want to see your weather pictures and videos. They might end up on TV. You can also go to clickorlando.com/pins, upload your pics and videos that way. Well, a dating app scare. Police say an Orlando woman went to meet a man in Miami, and it really went south.
Police say she was bear hugged and then blocked from exiting. When we come back, how she got herself and her 3-year-old child to safety.
Your Tuesday evening traffic alert, we're going to see the same stuff. This weather's not messing up anything, so make sure you're paying attention, especially down on our south end. I-95 down here in Malabar. Your ramps are going to be shut down. Follow the detour. They'll get you around it about 10 minutes or so. And then 528 east and westbound by the airport. We see those daytime and nighttime lane closures. Then out here, out by I-4 World Drive, the attraction mass that we've been seeing for a long time. And then out here along I-4 east and westbound between the Turnpike and 528. Same stuff, but they're really ramping it up. I'm Trooper Steve with your News 6 traffic alert. Drive safely. I'll catch you in the morning.
Here's a live look at downtown Orlando from our Light Orlando Delivering Hope camera. A lot of light out there this evening. You're watching News 6 at 5. We'll be right back. Bear hugged and blocked from leaving. That's what Miami police say a man did when a woman came to see him after meeting on a dating app.
Police say the suspect assaulted and falsely imprisoned an Orlando woman who they say rode a bright line down with her 3-year-old to celebrate his birthday. Our affiliate in South Florida has more.
As to the first count for the strong arm robbery, I'm setting the standard bond at $7,500.
34-year-old Sadi Michal Castellanos-Traminio is facing charges including strong-arm robbery, child neglect, and battery by strangulation. Miami police say the victim from Orlando was falsely imprisoned and assaulted Friday night inside this apartment here on Northeast Bayshore Court. An arrest report says they initially met through a social media dating app. It says the suspect bought a Brightline train ticket for her and her 3-year-old daughter so they could come to Miami to celebrate his birthday. The report says she thought they were going to go out to dinner, but instead he bought pizza and took them back to his apartment, which she thought was dirty. The report said he tried to kiss her and she wanted to leave. The report said at that point the defendant became irate and told her not to leave, stating that it was too dangerous. He then bear hugged her and prevented her from exiting the room. The report says Castellanos Straminio grabbed her phone after she texted a friend and she screamed. The report says the defendant then covered her mouth and nose with his hand to prevent her from yelling. The report also said she was able to break free, go to another room, and text her friend again, who contacted police.
The concern is that we have some folks in our community, in our society at large, that place way too much reliance on all these social media platforms and dating applications, and that's a risk. You really don't know somebody until you meet them, right? Not on an app, but in person. So you should be guarded until the time that they're able to earn your trust.
Pretty terrifying, especially with the little one involved there. Well, a former Daytona Beach police officer is set to stay behind bars.
Amber Williamson had a hearing to discuss bond this morning, but she was not even there. Coming up, a look at the judge's decision and why the Volusia sheriff was not happy with the decision made over her previous arrests.
Plus, pledging $50 million for a road that isn't started. What Seminole County leaders are planning to do to make Sanford Airport trips easier, and why drivers say it's a good idea.
As we take a live look at Daytona Beach, you're watching News 6. We'll be right back. Glad you're with us. I'm Lisa Bell.
And I'm Matt Austin. You're watching News 6 at 5. We're following several top stories for you right now. We're seeing the moments leading up to a deputy-involved shooting which killed a 16-year-old accused of shoplifting at a Walmart superstore.
So this happened last week in Point Siena. In the video, the Osceola County Sheriff's deputy appears to be yelling, drop it, in reference to the gun they say 16-year-old Jairus Jones was holding. The sheriff's office paused the video due to a state statute that precludes any depiction of the death of a minor.
A brush fire in Daytona Beach is now 100% contained. The fire just off LPGA Boulevard near the Mosaic neighborhood and tennis center. Around 80 homes were forced out last night before they were able to return today. Around 227 acres were burned. Well, it was a teen prank gone too far. The social media trend of running up and kicking someone's front door has already led to charges against one Central Florida teen. The Orange County Sheriff's Office says these types of pranks are not funny and they can be terrifying for neighbors who think they're in danger. While remaining behind bars, that's the immediate future for a former Daytona Beach police officer arrested on drug charges.
So this is video of Amber Williamson being arrested. She was set to appear before a judge this morning for a bond discussion. But as News 6's Mark Lehman shows us, the sheriff is not happy about what happened in a previous arrest.
Coming into today's hearing, Amber Williamson was looking at separate schedules for the cases she's facing here at the courthouse. The clerk now tells me that they're all moving forward with the same timeline as her defense is preparing for trial.
40-year-old Amber Williamson was noticeably absent from the courtroom as there was a brief discussion on the next steps for her most recent drug trafficking case. The former Daytona Beach police officer was first arrested last month after Port Orange police identified her as a fentanyl dealer during an investigation.
This isn't like she was shoplifting. I mean, this is a deadly game that's being played with this fentanyl.
Volusia County Sheriff Mike Chitwood hired Williamson in 2009 when he was Daytona Beach's police chief, and she remained with the department for 10 years. Chitwood telling us in a previous interview he was especially disappointed to learn after her initial arrest, a judge released Williamson on her own recognizance.
He whiffed on this one. I mean, you know, judges are like umpires, and when they make mistakes, in my opinion, they should be called out.
Williamson was rearrested days later on more warrants connected to drug trafficking. She was later ordered to be held without bond while awaiting trial.
That to walk out the front door, ROR, like, oh, nothing's ever going to happen again, that you're basically urinating in the face of all the hardworking cops that are trying to stop this and telling them it's raining outside.
Last week, an order was also filed substituting a new attorney for Williamson. Both he and his client are expected back in court next month as pretrial in her cases has been set for March 19th. In Daytona Beach, Mark Lehman, News 6.
In an emotional new video this morning, Today Show co-host Savannah Guthrie said her family realizes their mom, Nancy Guthrie, may no longer be alive, but they still want to know what happened to her, and they are offering a $1 million reward for information.
We also know that she may be lost. She may already be gone. We need her to come home. For that reason, we are offering a family reward of up to $1 million for any information that leads us to her recovery.
Now, in this doorbell camera video outside Nancy Guthrie's front door, law enforcement says this masked man appears to have been at her home earlier than February 1st, the night that police believe Guthrie was actually kidnapped. The Pima County Sheriff said last week it is possible that the suspect in the video could have had an accomplice who may have already been inside the home. At this point, no suspect has been identified as the search continues into week 4.
Let's take another look outside. This is our nation's capital in Washington, D.C. Today, the U.S. House of Representatives failed to pass an air safety bill aimed at preventing aviation disasters, like last year's collision between an Army Black Hawk helicopter and an American Airlines plane over the Potomac River.
So what exactly happened in the House? For more on this, we bring in News 6 anchor Ginger Gadsden. Ginger?
Yeah, Lisa and Matt, the legislation needed 2/3 majority, but did not receive enough Republican votes.
airboats. Lawmakers rejected the bill known as the Rotor Act, which would require most aircraft to be equipped with advanced locator technology. The head of the National Transportation Safety Board has said it would have prevented last year's mid-air collision near Washington, D.C. that killed 67 people. The bill passed the Senate unanimously and garnered support from key unions and families of those who died in the crash. Doug Lane, whose wife and young son were among the victims, questions why airlines aren't already equipped with this technology.
I learned from the NTSB that ADS-BN recommended in a letter before he was born would have saved his life, my wife's life, and 65 other beautiful people.
The legislation also included provisions forcing a safety review of flight routes at mid and large-size airports. It would also limit the conditions under which the military can turn off location broadcasting technology. The Pentagon, which had earlier backed the measure, pulled its support ahead of the House vote. Now, you may remember just days after the crash last year, we told you 34-year-old Jonathan Campos of Ormond Beach was a pilot on the American Airlines jet involved in the crash. He was a graduate of Embry-Riddle Aeronautical University and received his certified flight instructor rating with Epic Flight Academy. Now, FAA records show Campos was also a helicopter pilot and a certified aviation mechanic. Matt?
Ginger Gadsden, thank you. Meantime, President Trump's getting ready to deliver the first State of the Union address of his second term. Erica Brown is in Capitol Hill with a look at what you can expect.
The White House says the economy will be a major focus of President Trump's State of the Union address tonight.
He will, of course, lay out a very ambitious agenda, I think, for the working people of this country to make America more affordable and prosperous.
This speech comes days after the Supreme Court struck down one of his key economic policies, sweeping global tariffs, an issue recent polling shows is unpopular with most Americans.
I think the president knows he's in real trouble on the economy, and so I expect him to try to spin a happy story.
It also comes during a partial government shutdown impacting the Department of Homeland Security.
He will call on Democrats in Congress to reopen the Department of Homeland Security. It's despicable.
Republicans on Capitol Hill are looking to the president to make the case for their party to keep control of Congress ahead of November's midterm elections.
Republicans have a far simpler and far superior message for Americans watching at home. We're putting more money back in your pockets.
President Trump is also expected to talk about Iran as he weighs possible military action over its nuclear program.
I think that this is a president that doesn't want war, he wants peace. He's willing to use the military, use strength through peace.
A war in Iran would be an absolute disaster, and Congress needs to do everything we can to stop it from happening.
Virginia's newly elected governor, Abigail Spanberger, is set to deliver the Democratic response. Erica Brown, CBS News, Capitol Hill.
Well, improvements were made on Orange Avenue last year, right near the Soto district.
But we wanted to know how those upgrades are working. Trooper Steve went out there to check it out and tells us exactly what you can expect on Trooper Steve on patrol.
Orange Avenue has been under some serious construction, wrapped up in the middle of last year, but I haven't been able to come out here. I've had no real reasons to come out here, but people have been like, hey, the parallel parking out there is becoming a problem. Orange Avenue, Cayley area, ORMC, all the way up towards Lucerne. If you traveled through here over the past year, the construction was just absolutely insane. Even through the Soto district, pretty much all the way towards Michigan. Southbound Orange Avenue here at Underwood Street. A little bit of an ugly day, but we can see what's going on. So what is new? To the right, all new curbing, extended out, pushes you away from the sidewalk because it's positive, and then they've added a bunch of parallel parking along the side here. Now, the only thing I am noticing about the parallel parking, we're right up on the road, guys, like right up. There is not an inch of a room for a mistake out here. Some safety zones built in right outside Miller Street here outside ORMC, Orlando Health. And as we're cruising on the right lane, it's still active construction. Why? Because there's still construction signs, so you have to be cautious.
Now you can watch Steve's full breakdown under this article on clickorlando.com. Hit the road with Trooper Steve on patrol weekdays at 8 a.m. and 8 p.m. on the News 6 Plus streaming app for your smart TV or clickorlando.com.
Well, NASA's long-awaited trip around the moon is facing another setback. As of right now, the Artemis 2 launch is set for no earlier than April. Over the weekend, engineers found an issue with the helium flow to the rocket's upper stage, an area that can only be reached inside the vehicle assembly building. The rollback of the rocket to the VAB was expected to happen today. It's now pushed back to tomorrow. NASA cited high winds and cold weather as the reason for that delay. Managers say the quick decision to roll back could help protect an April launch window, possibly.
A celebration at Orlando Health's Lake Mary Hospital over the weekend. Moms who delivered their babies over the past year returned to celebrate the hospital's one-year anniversary. The hospital opened on January 11th of 2025. These are photos from the event. It included activities like free health screenings and a car seat safety station. The hospital says they have delivered nearly 1,300 babies since opening. Well, you know them well if you live in Central Florida.
Of course, talking about toll roads. I use them every day. One of them, a new path to the Sanford Airport, would make it easier to access, but of course, it will come at a cost. Coming up, how Seminole County is working to make that connection and why you might be on the hook to pay for it. Jonathan.
Temperatures right now in the 50s and 60s. We do have another really cold night coming our way today. The positive, though, the wind is backing off. We're going to talk about that part of your forecast and the warm-up that follows at about 5:47.
Plus, flying with Dolly, the flight you can take later this year, decked out with everything Dolly Parton. I love this. And the deal it could get you at Dollywood, of course.
Try out the all-new primetime schedule on News 6 Plus. Ginger and I have a new take on the day's news on News 6 tonight. That's at 9. You can go in-depth with your weather questions and meteorologist Jonathan Kagas at 9:30. Then watch the late news an hour early. It's all tonight on News 6 Plus.
And you can download our streaming app for free. Just search WKMG in your Smart TV's app store. It's also available on Roku, Apple TV, and Fire TV.
This portion of the news is sponsored by Shark Coatings.
Well, if you are a Dolly Parton fan, and who isn't, we have some great news for you. Allegiant Air is launching a one-day-only Dollywood-themed flight. It's happening this November from right here in Central Florida at the Sanford Airport. It will fly to Nashville with flight number 925, of course. The flight will have live entertainment, trivia, and themed food and drinks. For those headed to Dollywood, you will get discounts and a bonus park experience the next day. You can book the flight for November 6th, which I just looked up. That is on a Friday. What a fabulous weekend, Matt.
How are they not calling that the Dolly Trolley?
Really? I don't like that name at
You
all.
don't like
That's
that?
awful. No, that is terrible.
How
Dolly
surprised
Trolley.
am I? So critical. All right, Easy Air, I liked it. Easy Airport access comes at a cost. Seminole County is moving forward with millions of dollars for a connector toll road to ease congestion and help with growth. As your Seminole County community correspondent Catherine Silver explains, taxpayers will be paying for it.
Seminole County is pledging $50 million total, $25 million up front and then another $25 million down the line, all for a road that drivers won't even be able to see construction start on for years. There's only so much traffic this stretch of Lake Mary Boulevard can take near Sanford's airport. And by 2050, officials expect more than 36,000 cars will drive this path every day.
Sometimes, in the morning, it's bad.
Underneath that bridge and everything, it's just so bad. Sometimes you sit there for 10 minutes at that light.
Drivers we spoke to Tuesday say they would appreciate anything to ease congestion, even if they have to pay for it.
90% of the time, this lane, that right lane, is all the way down.
A proposed toll road connecting the 417 to the airport would give them another option. The approved route starts near the Lake Jessup Toll Plaza and heads northeast. But progress comes with a price. That route cuts through homes and properties. And the actual price tag is estimated around $200 million. Funding it is just one challenge ahead as the project moves closer to the design phase. Construction is expected to start in 2031.
It would cut a lot of this traffic.
In Seminole County, Catherine Silver, News 6.
All right, we want to get over to meteorologist Jonathan Kagas now, who is showing us our lows today.
Yeah.
Hopefully this is now behind us for good.
It's going to be another little chilly night tonight, maybe a degree or two warmer than what we have on the screen here. Then I think we start to pull out of this one for a good amount of time. This one we woke up to this morning, 20s and 30s, another hard freeze for us in Ocala, 37 this morning at the Orlando International Airport. And we're back in that ballpark again tonight. Frost advisory for most of Central Florida. Again, you know the deal by now with the plants. Just keep them inside if they are potted. Keep them covered if they made it past the first freeze in the first couple days of February. Where we do not have any colors in here, that's where we have a freeze warning in play. That's going to be for Marion County, the opportunity for air temperatures to dip to 32 degrees or colder by the time you wake up tomorrow morning. And these are the temperatures to go with some of those colors I just showed you. The Villages, good evening. We're at 34 to start tomorrow, 37 in Leesburg, 38 degrees in Orlando, back at the freezing mark in Denellen. We're at 34 in Palm Coast. Beautifully blue skies out there right now. It looks gorgeous. Still a little chilly out there. Live look with our Light Orlando. Delivering Hope Sky Camp tonight. We have air temperatures back to the upper 50s. That's what we like, not only for the brush fires that the firefighters have been working on, but for our comfort as well. The wind is gone. Although the double-edged sword of that, with a calmer wind tonight, the temperatures will be able to radiate back into space a little bit quicker. They call that radiational cooling, and that's why we have another cold morning coming our way tomorrow. Right now, we're at 53 in Daytona, 52 degrees in Palm Coast. We're back to the low 50s in Bunnell as well. Still cool off to the southeast corner of the United States. But look at this. Off towards our west, the 60s and 70s are building back towards Texas and Oklahoma again. Tomorrow, we start to get in on that, and really by Thursday and Friday, we really start to warm things back up, and it's because of the same area of high pressure. Right now, it's kind of plopped itself right on the Florida Peninsula. It's keeping our skies clear. It's keeping our winds on the calmer side. But by tomorrow, it slides back out into the Atlantic. That clockwise airflow around high pressure going to take the warmth that you saw back there and then push it right back up the Florida Peninsula. And that starts as early as tomorrow, at least the transition day back to the warmer days. Rain chances tomorrow at 0%. You see us back into the lower 70s across the board tomorrow. Then we're tracking our next system as we get towards the end of this work week. It comes as a cold front. This one does not have the bite as the last one, but it will provide us the opportunity anyway late Friday night into the start of Sunday. This is Saturday paused here in the morning for some very beneficial rain. Now here's a look at your forecast.
Your forecast is sponsored by Advent Health.
Temperatures again tomorrow, chilly start, low to mid 30s northwest of I-4, mid to upper 30s elsewhere. We're at 73 on Wednesday, tomorrow, 81 on Thursday. Those rain chances start inching up a little bit on Friday. That's mainly late in the day, though. 50% shot for rain on Saturday. We're back to the mid 70s on Sunday after that warm up, getting in to start your weekend, guys.
All right, pretty good looking 7-day there, Jonathan. Thank you. Well, e-bike concerns continue across Central Florida tonight.
Yeah, right now a 5-year-old boy is recovering after being hit by an e-bike on the beach, and deputies are asking for help. Coming up, how deputies hope the community can assist as we get new information about this crash.
Coming up in the morning, keeping kids safe on e-bikes, a new plan in place to protect hundreds of kids.
Plus, a local attraction changing the way you pay, where you can soon leave your cash behind.
Join us for News 6 Morning starting at 6.
A 5-year-old's recovering this evening. He was hit by an e-bike last weekend. Deputies say 2 teens were riding the bike and left the scene.
And now investigators are asking for the public's help finding them. News 6's Alex Cook is in Daytona Beach. He has new body cam video, the 911 calls, and the calls for new rules for e-bikes on the beach.
This is one of the few beaches in Florida where vehicles share the sand with sunbathing families. Cars are supposed to stick to these traffic lanes behind me, but that doesn't apply to e-bikes. Deputies say that 5-year-old boy was walking to the ocean with his bucket when the e-bike came by and hit him. Now, the sheriff is looking for the public's help finding those 2 teenagers who fled the scene.
Deputies shared this surveillance still of the e-bike they say shows 2 teenagers riding southbound Saturday afternoon near Sand Splash Park. We're learning from 911 calls that 5-year-old boy was at the beach with a family friend. When his mother found out he was hit, she called 911 while rushing to her son. That family friend broke the awful news to the boy's mother, and that's when she dialed 911.
She just called me and told me that he got ran over by a bike and the dude kept going.
When deputies arrived, they found lifeguards caring for that injured child.
You could see a tire mark all down the side of his calf. They ran over it and they left the scene.
Deputies say the boy has minor injuries. Volusia County Sheriff Mike Chitwood says e-bikes on the beach are a growing problem.
This could have been a lot worse.
I spoke with the boy's mother on the phone. She said he's going to be okay, but she wanted to release this statement. E-bikes have become a popular choice in our community over the years, but they are still deadly, especially for kids. Beaches aren't streets. It's time safety came first. E-bikes are allowed on the beaches and they don't have to stay in those traffic lanes. Sheriff Chitwood says that might need to change.
Maybe the county will be able to pass some kind of an ordinance that forces these e-bikes at least into the traffic lane for us, so they're a lot easier to control than allowing them to zip around all over on the beach like now.
We'll follow what comes of the sheriff's push for stricter rules for e-bikes on the beach. For now, deputies are focused on finding these two teenagers who hit a 5-year-old boy and rode away. In Daytona Beach, Alex Cook, News 6.
Ginger Gadsden is in the newsroom with what we are working on for News 6 at 6.
Lisa and Matt, we have a new development in the deputy-involved shooting last week at an Osceola County Walmart. Coming up, we are breaking down this newly released body cam video showing the moments leading up to that shooting. And
it's a prank that's getting out of hand. Coming up, I spoke with homeowners who live in Winter Garden. They say this door kick challenge is becoming a nuisance.
And let's take you outside right now. This is a live look at downtown Orlando. This is from our Light Orlando Delivering Hope Together camera. It's a beautiful day out there and it has warmed up nicely from that brisk start this morning. You're watching News 6. We will be right back.
Now on News 6, new body cam video showing the moments before a deputy opens fire on a teen inside a crowded Walmart.
Stop it! Stop it!
We're walking you through the footage. Plus, a teen prank gone too far in Orange County.
These kids, I'm sure they think it's funny, but I mean, you just don't know what's going to happen on the other side of that door.
What's being done to curb a popular social media trend. And what we're learning about the family court battle sparked by the death of a young woman on a cruise ship. News 6 at 6 starts now.
And now at 6, a short snippet of video sparking a large conversation. It shows the moments before an Osceola sheriff's deputy shoots and kills a teenager suspected of shoplifting inside a Poinciana Walmart.
Yeah, that video sent to us by the sheriff's office, which is quite short, shows what appears to be a gun in that teen's hand. News 6's Mike Valenti joins us now live from outside that Walmart. Mike, we're only getting a glimpse as to what happened, but it's very telling.
Very telling indeed, and you said it, Ginger, only a glimpse, actually just several seconds of this video released by the Osceola County Sheriff's Office. The video lasts about 6 seconds and then it cuts off before we ever hear gunshots.
Stop it! Stop it!
In this brief video, we hear what appears to be the words of Deputy Terrence Blackman, giving commands to 16-year-old Jairus Jones. The video then cuts off. We at News 6 did not edit the video in any way, but as you could tell, we did loop it because of the video's short length. The sheriff's office says the agency cannot release footage depicting the death of a minor. One frame of the video paused by the sheriff's office to highlight what's in Jones' hand. A spokesperson said last week that the deputy opened fire because Jones was running while holding a gun in an area of the store where there were a lot of Walmart shoppers. Deputy Blackman, who is not related to Sheriff Christopher Blackman, has been on the force since early 2022 and is now on administrative leave in the wake of last Thursday's incident, which the sheriff's office said started when the deputy and a loss prevention officer confronted Jones and 2 other people about stolen items. That's when the office says Jones ran. Here's what we know about the 2 other people who were with Jones last Thursday night. This is according to authorities who say one of those people was also a minor, one of Jones's friends. The other person was Jones's adult brother. We know they have not been arrested or charged, but a spokesperson for the sheriff's office told me as recently as this afternoon that those 2 people are still under investigation by the sheriff's office. We're live outside the Walmart Superstore in Poinciana. I'm News 6's Mike Valenti. Back to you.
Mike, thank you. And this is the second person this month to be shot by deputies investigating a shoplifting incident at a Walmart. Yesterday, we told you about a masked man being shot by deputies at an Orange County Walmart. This happened Sunday night at the store along East Colonial Drive. Investigators say a man was trying to leave the store with a cart full of items. Deputies say the man ignored deputies' orders, so they used a taser on him. He was taken to the hospital and is expected to be okay. Investigators say 2 knives were found at the scene.
Developing tonight in Volusia County, the Bennett Field brush fire in Daytona Beach is now 100% contained. We got that update just within the past hour or so. More than 80 homes in the Mosaic neighborhood off LPGA Boulevard were evacuated last night because of that fire. Everyone was allowed to return home today. Neighbors tell your Volusia County community correspondent Molly Reed they had to act quickly and get out fast last night.
I ended up gathering up what I could. Got the dog and we took off, and we tried to stay at a hotel nearby, but that was booked already. So we just went over to one over at the beach, and it was pretty good, but this is one of the scariest things I've ever been through.
Crews say the surrounding swamp in the area made it tough to stop the fire, but the weather today certainly helped out. Fire crews are still investigating the cause of that fire.
All right, let's take you for a live look now because this is happening right now. SpaceX is launching another batch of Starlink internet satellites from Cape Canaveral Space Force Station. Of course, the winds died down, so that is probably helpful in the case of this launch. That is going to happen any second now. We're going to continue to follow this. You can watch the launch on the bottom of your screen as they start that countdown as we get closer to launch. We're at 10 right now. You can watch it on clickorlando.com.
6, 5, 4,
there
3,
it goes. It's about
2,
to lift off, and
1.
it's a beautiful
Ignition,
day for it.
Engines full power, and lift
And
off.
it is
Go
off.
SpaceX, go Falcon, go Starlink.
All right, more communication satellites on the way to low Earth orbit as
Vehicle
we
is switching
speak.
down
Look at that shot. It's picture
Could it
perfect.
look any nicer
Always
out tonight?
nice. Yeah, it is
The
gorgeous
weather
out there.
is cooperating. It was a
Yeah.
95% chance.
Yeah,
of
if this were
favorable weather.
yesterday with the windy conditions, we might be looking at something a little different. That's the reason that NASA did not roll out the SLS back to the vehicle assembly building
They
because
didn't
the
want that
winds
thing
were
tipping
so
over.
strong.
Yeah.
Yeah. So this is a picture-perfect launch right now, and you can continue to watch it on clickorlando.com. Love to see it. All right, well, we've had some really dry conditions in the area lately, and we keep asking meteorologist Jonathan Kagas, you know, with the dry conditions and the brush fires, when will we see any rain to give us just a little bit of relief?
Yeah, we're looking forward towards the weekend, Friday into Saturday, maybe bleeding into a little bit on early Sunday morning. That's our next best shot of rain. What helped firefighters out today and really the fire conditions, of course, it remains dry. We're keeping the air very dry, the ground very dry, but the winds have backed off significantly, about calm in Orlando, every now and then gusting to 5 to 10 miles an hour, a little breezy on the coast still, but that will also wind down gradually through the evening. Relative humidity remaining low, we will start to moisten back up the atmosphere a little bit as we get towards the end of the week, Thursday and especially Friday into Saturday, as we welcome those rain chances back into central Florida. Something that continues to stay on the lower side again will be the wind. You see almost calm, and that calm wind will allow our temperatures to plummet again tonight. So we don't have that wind chill factor, but it will be cold in the morning. We'll take a look at how cold it gets in your neighborhood and then look ahead to those weekend rain chances. We need it bad, as Ginger mentioned, coming up at about 6:17.
Jonathan, thank you. A teen prank gone too far. The online trend of running up and kicking someone's front door has already led to charges against one Central Florida teen. But as your West Orange County community correspondent Tylisa Hampton discovered, the trend is still spreading, with one neighborhood now sounding the alarm.
Pranks gone too far.
It's just really frustrating and unnerving. I mean, it has been going on for at least a month.
The footprints on Brittany Connor's front door were left by teens during the door kick challenge, a social media trend where kids kick the door and run away. How has this impacted you and your family?
Well, I mean, my nerves are frayed. Because I'm, trying to make my children dinner, and then they slam the door so hard, which that in itself makes you jump.
Around the neighborhood, others experienced the same thing, as well as the Ding Dong Ditch challenge shown in this video. Meanwhile, another homeowner sent us this video. Teens covering their faces and his camera while he says they kick his door, scaring him and his son. Across Central Florida, at least one teen was arrested in connection with the challenge that some fear could lead to grave outcomes.
These kids, I'm sure they think it's funny, but I mean, you just don't know what's going to happen on the other side of that door.
And we did reach out to the Orange County Sheriff's Office about the problems that we're seeing in this area. They replied in part, quote, "These type of pranks are not funny and can be terrifying for residents who feel they are in danger if someone is trying to kick in their door. First and foremost, we want young people to know that this could land them in real trouble." Reporting for News 6, I'm Tylisa Hampton.
Developing tonight, the man accused of slashing a boy's throat in Daytona Beach is facing a new, more serious charge.
The state attorney's office is charging Jermaine Long with attempted first-degree murder. This is in addition to his initial charge of aggravated battery. Long's accused of slashing a boy he didn't know near the slingshot ride on the boardwalk last week. That boy needed 13 stitches in his neck. Long is also facing charges after police say hours before the slashing, he chased a guy with a sledgehammer. At the time, officers spoke with Long and the victim, but they did not immediately make an arrest. He'll be held in jail until his trial. Kicked, pushed, and slapped. A Marion County daycare teachers facing child abuse charges tonight. Ginger has a look at some of these shocking allegations. And Ginger, deputies say the kids were only about a year old in this.
Yeah, Matt, it is just a horrific story. The sheriff's office says that this woman, whose name is Laura Flores, was an employee at Bright Beginnings Learning Center in Summerfield. According to an arrest report, one of the kids came home with bruises and abrasions on his cheeks, and that sparked an investigation into what was happening. Deputies say when they looked back at surveillance footage, they saw Flores grabbing a child and throwing them onto a mat. They say they kept watching and later saw Flores hit a kid in the back of the head, then kick another child, causing them to fall face first onto the floor. Then she hit a child in the stomach and slapped a child she had just finished swaddling. Flores is facing 3 counts of felony child abuse.
A Titusville teen's death on a cruise ship is prompting a new legal battle among her family. 18-year-old Anna Kepner was found dead on the Carnival Horizon in November. Relatives say Kepner's younger stepbrother is a suspect in her murder. News 6 investigator Mike DeForest broke the latest developments in this saga on clickorlando.com. So, Mike, what are you learning about this?
Well, Matt, Anna Kepner was part of a blended family. Before her untimely death on that cruise ship, she lived with her biological dad and her stepmother, along with her siblings and step-siblings. Now, the teen's death has family members rushing to the courthouse, fighting over custody of Kepner's younger brother and sisters.
It's been nearly 4 months since Anna Kepner was found dead on the Carnival Horizon. The FBI and federal prosecutors are still not discussing the investigation. But family members say Kepner died from asphyxiation and that her 16-year-old stepbrother, identified in court papers as TH, is facing juvenile court proceedings after being identified as a suspect in her murder. After Kepner's death, her biological father, Christopher, and stepmother, Chantel, have been in court battling for custody of Chantel's 2 children from a previous marriage, including the one they call a murder suspect. Chantel Kepner's ex-husband, Thomas Hudson, has argued those children are better off with him, in part because of what happened on this cruise ship. In a newly filed court paper, that ex-husband writes, according to social media from the Kepner family, TH was charged by the United States Attorney in the Southern District of Florida for the redacted and homicide of Anna Kepner. News 6 has been unable to independently verify the ex-husband's claim, and it's unclear why part of that court filing has been redacted.
Now, family members have said the younger stepbrother's legal issues are now being handled in juvenile court. Now, if true, that means any court documents detailing the allegations against him and ultimately the outcome of that juvenile case will be sealed by a judge. Reporting live in the newsroom, Mike DeForest, News 6.
Mike, thank you. Well, a popular attraction at Universal's Epic Universe is now at the center of a lawsuit.
Coming up, we're breaking down the lawsuit claiming 2 people were hurt on a ride.
A 74-year-old man dies after someone runs him over along this part of the course of a half marathon. I'm your Melbourne community correspondent, James Sparvero. I'll bring you the latest on this tragic investigation.
Good evening. Ahead on the CBS Evening News, my conversation with House Speaker Mike Johnson, what he's expecting to hear the president say tonight, and what he's expecting of members of Congress, decorum tonight, how they should act during the State of the Union address. That's ahead.
This portion of the news is sponsored by Advent Health.
Tragedy at a half marathon. A 74-year-old participant lost his life after he was hit by a car.
Your Melbourne community correspondent James Sparvero is asking how this happened and whether a driver will now face charges.
A 74-year-old man dies after someone runs him over along this part of the course of a half marathon. The police tell me it happened near US 1 and Hibiscus Boulevard on Sunday, February 8th. The Florida Marathon says someone drove into the lane for runners and hit Albert A.J. Swan. This is the 74-year-old from Georgia, pictured in his obituary. He died 8 days after being hit.
Yeah, that's pretty tragic.
I talked to runners where another part of the race took place, the 192 Causeway. What do you think about a driver crossing over onto the closed side of the street? How could that happen?
Yeah, I don't know how that could happen. Maybe the guy was part of a truck or something, I don't know.
I asked that same question to police, but all they told me was it's still under investigation. Same for when I asked if there's video of the collision. The driver has not been charged. I imagine when you run a race, you expect to be safe.
Yeah, you expect to be safe. You expect other people to just be cautious of what, their surroundings. I'm hoping that nobody did that on purpose.
What would you like to see happen to that driver?
Get some jail time, yeah, for sure. Pretty much murdered the guy.
A.J. Swan's obituary reads the 74-year-old was running in his 31st half marathon. I've made public records requests from police for any 911 calls from witnesses and any reports from police at the scene. We'll add all updates to this investigation on clickorlando.com. In Brevard County, I'm your Melbourne community correspondent, James Sparvero, News 6.
New documents show two brothers are suing Universal's Epic Universe. Their lawsuit claims they were hurt while riding Harry Potter and the Battle at the Ministry in December. According to the lawsuit, the ride vehicle stopped abruptly due to a malfunction, causing the men back and neck injuries. The law firm the brothers are working with, Morgan & Morgan, put out a statement. The law firm what the brothers are working with says, in part, quote, the most important job of a theme park is to keep its guests safe. We checked state theme park injury reports from October to December. Those reports do not show the injuries. We have reached out to Universal Orlando for a comment. We'll let you know when we hear back.
All right, time now for a check of our forecast. And I thought this morning would be the last of it. And am I wrong, Jonathan?
One more night. Now, it won't be as windy.
Okay.
So it'll feel a little bit better. We're at that kind of the stage of the ball game here. It is going to be cold again. Most of us wake up in the 30s again. And then it's on Wednesday, tomorrow afternoon, that we start to transition out of this chill again. We're back to the 50s, mid-50s in Ocala, lower 50s already in Denellen, 58 degrees in Mount Dora. And it is much colder on the west side of Central Florida. That is because we have high pressure moving in, so the winds are really calm, pretty much from I-4 and west. So that's why we're seeing the temperatures drop much faster. Clear skies, calm winds, perfect ingredients for any of the warmth that we accumulated through the day. Warmth to evaporate and escape back up into space. 32 degrees in Denellen. I was wish casting there. That's tomorrow morning. 34 in Ocala, Groveland. Good evening. We are back to 35. 38 in Kissimmee. Celebration in Orlando. 36 degrees in New Smyrna Beach as we go through tomorrow morning. Temperatures will be on the rebound, though. Again, the chill starting to retreat already after one more cold night here in Central Florida. But look at this bubble of warmth where it's hanging out around 70 in Oklahoma City, near 80 degrees in El Paso. Gradually, we're going to watch that warmth skirt across the North Gulf Coast and work its way back into Central Florida. For that, here's a look at your forecast.
Your forecast is sponsored by Strata Services.
So we're climbing the ladder tomorrow, not all the way there yet, not back to at least average is 77. We'll be in the low to mid 70s, so not far off, certainly warmer than where we were today. And then we really crank up the thermostat going forward. Here we go Thursday into Friday, back in the low to mid 80s. We're keeping things in the middle 80s. A touch cooler getting into Sunday and Monday. That is because we do have another system out there, and that system does have the opportunity to bring us some rain. This is going to be late Friday into the early morning of Sunday. The chance there anyway for a half inch, maybe even exceeding an inch in spots. Welcome sight for sure going forward. Timeline on this system. It's a cold front. Again, you saw the temperatures drop, but this does not have the bite as the one that we are just going through right now. But you see the rain pushing through. That's early on Saturday morning, 9, 10 o'clock. Again, watching for the half marathon. The 10K on Saturday especially looks to be on the wetter side of things. And then eventually as we get towards Sunday, The rainfall tries to push towards Lake Okeechobee, toward Miami and Fort Lauderdale as the front kind of stalls out over South and Central Florida. So watching that certainly is welcome, but if you have plans on the weekend, keep on checking back and got you covered. 81 degrees on Thursday after a start in the upper 40s, so there is our climb, guys. 84 degrees on Friday with rain chances back up to 30%. That's late in the day, so if you have plans early in the day or even around dinner time, I think we're going to be okay. And then watching the rain increase, especially for the day on Saturday, exiting the area, guys, on Sunday.
Yes to all of it.
We need it all.
Yeah, thank you, John.
Bring it on.
All right, sports director Jamie Say is here.
Jamie, it is title time in high school sports.
Yeah, it is. It's that time of year when Central Florida has to show the rest of the state what it's all about, right? Yeah, the winter season is crowning its champions in high school sports, and there is a soccer team from Seminole County intent on defending its state championship. The Lake Mary Rams making a statement today in DeLand. You'll see that next, plus what the Orlando Magic are up to out west. Welcome back to News 6. It doesn't matter what sport. The goal of every champion is to win it all again. And that is the mindset of the Lake Mary High School girls soccer team. The Rams rolled to a state title last year. And check it out. The team is back in the state Final Four. Lake Mary taking on Jupiter in the Class 7A state semis today in DeLand. Game knotted at 0 at halftime. Well, Coach Isley must have had a good speech at the half because Lake Mary comes alive in the second half. Sienna Sigurdsson chips it in for the first goal of the match, and it is on. Here's Tegan Johns with the boot into goal. Rams up 2-0. How about another score? Sigurdsson to Danica Kilmore. Lake Mary advances to tomorrow's state championship match, 5-0 today over Jupiter. Rams will take on Cypress Bay for the title. News 6 Sports talked to the winners today.
Just coming out with some fire. I mean, that was the biggest thing. They just came out with fire that second half and was ready to get it done.
We worked for this. We've been preparing for this for months on end. and it's coming to an end, but we're going to win it.
It means a lot. I mean, we write down our goals every year. There was 9 of them. One of the goals to score objectives of the year was to score over 100 goals. The only one we haven't achieved yet was winning back-to-back, so we got one more to go.
All right, go get it. On the boys' side, Windermere in the Class 7A semis today against Columbus from Miami. Columbus in the blue and coming on in the first half. The Explorers put it away to take a 1-0 lead. They add a few more goals in the second half and go on to defeat Windermere by a final of 4-1. Tonight, the Orlando Magic face the franchise that has won 17 NBA championships. The guys tip off against the Lakers in LA at 10:30 Eastern Time. The matchup caps off the Magic's 4-game road trip out west. Like the Magic, the Lakers have dealt with their share of injuries and adversity this season, inconsistency. They're still forming their identity. These two teams have similar offensive numbers, but with one exception. Luka Doncic, the Lakers guard, leads the NBA in scoring this year, averaging almost 33 points a game. Magic, meantime, coming off a nail-biting win over the Clippers on Sunday. They've got the chance to go a very respectable 3-1 on this road trip and potentially climb into 6th place in the Eastern Conference with a win tonight.
All about defensive execution. They are obviously super offensively potent. I got to be super locked in, but at the end of the day, it's all about our toughness, how hard we play, how physical we are.
Everybody knows they got premier scorers, but we just got to pick up the pace, play great defense, rebound the basketball, and we'll be okay.
Yeah, this is a big opportunity for the Magic tonight. I mean, if they beat the Lakers in LA, that's like their best road win of the season in months. Yeah, in
All right,
months.
they need
We need
something, some
sure.
positivity here.
Yeah.
All right, more news coming up at 9 o'clock on clickorlando.com and the News 6 Plus streaming app.
Until then, have a great night, everybody. Bye.